Hey everybody, whenever you're watching from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we're back in the Alchemist of Ars Magna to continue our playthrough. Last time, we were in the middle of chapter 3. We just finished the fight with the that new enemy that just showed up, and we stopped at this point because it was like a good time to stop so I can farm off stream. So I did do some farming off stream to get some materials going, so I don't have to do the farming on stream. It would be a waste of time going to nearby forest over and over again. So I did manage to craft some new equipment. I crafted 3, I think. I crafted this one for Henry, and then we crafted spin circuit for Arya, and then for our dude Shin, I made the metal knuckles. So got some decent amount of farming done, but hopefully I won't have to farm the forest. Hopefully I won't have to farm the forest for any other upgrades in the future. Some of the materials we need for the next pieces of equipment are much higher levels, so hopefully they just give us a better farming map for these higher tier materials, so I'm not farming nearby forest over and over again. Hey Spark, good morning. So yeah, we won't be doing any farming on stream, thankfully. We'll just continue on with the story, and we stopped at this point where we have another heart event. I think this is our third heart event. So we had the one with Henry, and then we had one with Arya, and then this is the one with Salas, seems like. So we'll go full screen and let's see what our scene with Salas is going to be like. Led by Albertos, Shin and the others were led into a monastery in the forest. It was smaller than the one they lived in, but it seemed similar. For a while, Albertos would borrow the powers of contracted gods and demon partners to make secret hideouts in the forest.
念入りに結界を施しているからね。ここなら落ち着いて体を休めることができるだろう。調合用の機材も揃っているから必要なら好きに使うといい。
本当にありがとうございました。あの時アルベルトス様が駆けつけてくれなかったら、考えただけでゾッとします。
おかげで命拾いしたのだわ。誰も犠牲にならずに済んだし、送信も助けられたわ。
送信を救えたのはアリアさんのおかげですね。かなり汚染されて動けない状態だったのに、一体どうやったのでしょう。
ソニア先生、積もる話は休んでからにしませんか？
それがいい。今は皆疲れ切っているようだ。
Shin was listening in while being rested on the bed. He was dazed from the high fever. He somewhat managed to make it here with the help of Salas and Albert, but upon entering the building, he was past his limits. Salas placed the wet handkerchief on Shin's cheek.
ごめんなさい、シン。私が先走ったせいで。
You don't need to feel responsible, Salas. Thanks to you and Albert, we managed to get back in one piece.
ああ、今回は俺も肝を冷やした。まあ、ついていってよかったよ。お前らを死なせずに済んだと思えばな。
熱、なかなか引かないね。父さん、常備してる薬は？
解熱剤と需要に効く薬草などがあったはずだ。裏に小さな庭園があって、ジューマに管理を任せている。
シンくんの症状に効きそうな薬剤なら心当たりがあります。私に調合させてください。
私も手伝います。それにアルバートの怪我も見ないと。
こっちは心配しなさんな。大した傷じゃねえよ。それより、シンの面倒を見てやりな。
心遣いはありがたいけど。
Albert pulled out a cigar from his pocket. Henry grabbed his wrist and shouted,
病人の前では禁煙なの。
それ悪かったな。
Putting away his cigarette, Albert slumped. Bugs swarmed inside his body. Maggots wriggled in his stomach, lungs, intestines, and guts as they emitted chewing sounds. Ew! Ew, that is disgusting. His body was hot. It was tingling while pulsating madly. Only if he can gouge out the bugs that dug through his soggy flesh like a ripe fruit that has begun to rot. Ew. Okay, this is kind of disgusting for how the morning there. But the sweet urge to destroy that rose in his body. The bugs send a curse through his bloodstream and to his brain. With your filthy hands, ruin those you care about and those who care about you. Ooh, okay. The gospel that rung through Shin's mind had his very own voice. When Shin woke up, it was already late at night. He can hear his heart pounding. Shin inhaled and exhaled like he was moaning. He felt something like a black sludge lingering in his body, making his heart ache.
シン、大丈夫？
Alice, yeah, I'm fine. Need to call her.
水を飲むといいわ。ほら。
Taking the cup offered by Silas, Shin downed it in one go. The coolness of the water seeped in, making the unpleasantness wash away. Thank you. I'm feeling better.
本当に大丈夫？先生やアルベルトス様を呼んできた方が。
No, it's fine. My fever went down and it seems like the medicine is working.
それならいいのだけど。
Silas peered in, still looking worried. Even in the darkness, he was close enough to see the quiver of her lashes, making him embarrassed. Where's everyone else? Already resting?
ええ、今は夜中だから。私もさっきまでうとうとしていたのだけど、シンの苦しそうな息遣いが聞こえたから。
So you stuck around this entire time? Feeling flustered at Shin's question, she turned away.
シンがあのカイマに捕まったのは、私をかばったからでしょ。私の代わりにあんなにダストを浴びてしまって。
I said you didn't need to feel responsible for this. I'm just glad you're safe.
でも、
Stella's hand hesitantly was placed on top of Shin's. Her soft hand was not like Cinderella's, it was gentle and warm.
怖かったわ。シンに何かあったらどうしようって、私。
Silas. Don't worry, I'm alive. Just as he was about to say that, he felt his blood flow backward. His blood boils. He felt a serious thirst for violence, a sensation similar but different from the activation of the Philosopher's Stone. An inner voice rang.
シン。
Oh, it's nothing. What was I just thinking? Shin shook his head violently as he sat up from his bed.
ダメよ、まだ寝てなくては。
No, I'm fine. My body feels much lighter. More like I feel hot, so I wanted to catch some wind.
熱があるのでしょ？
I'm fine. Sorry, I'll be right back. Convincing Silas as she worried, Shin prepared himself. His body did feel lighter. He had more than enough strength to get up and move around.
シン、せめて私も一緒に。
I'm just going for a walk around here. I don't want to cause a commotion and wake up Henry and the others. Without waiting for an answer, Shin left the monastery. Thanks to the barrier, there was no dust in the area, and the light evening breeze cooled his heated body slightly. Though there wasn't enough moonlight, Shin regretted coming out unprepared. Huh? His gaze was drawn to a small light that lit up in the darkness. Many lights popped up and floated in the empty air. Beyond the faint lights was Celes.
いおりにあったトーチよ。ホタルのジューマが飼育されていたの。
Celes. He knew he shouldn't, but he felt slightly annoyed. He wanted to be left alone. To Celis, who didn't seem to pick that up, he couldn't help but feel his frustration building.
シン、汚れを我慢しているのではなくて、やっぱり辛いのね、シン。なら私が。
What are you saying? You can't do that. As Celis tried to approach him, Shin stopped her with his hand. You don't know what you're saying. I'm fine. After a while, it'll calm down, so you go back.
私が何も知らないとでも思ってるの？エンリやアリアがシンのために尽くしていること。
Oh, she knows. Okay. I thought she didn't know. I thought she was clueless.
それがどういう意味を持っているのか気づかないほど私は子供ではないわ。
Tell us. Shin was shocked at her awfully loud voice. As he froze on the spot, Celis inched closer as she pushed her face closer to his.
そんなに苦しんでいるのにどうして私には相談してくれなかったの？私が王女だから？他人だから？アリアのように一緒に暮らしたわけでもヘンリのように深いつながりでもないから？
No, that's not how it is. I care for you, Celis. I didn't plan on forcing that on Henry and Arya either, but I had no choice. You're the worst. I just rely on everyone and get supported by everyone, but... Shin looked down, feeling guilty.
私は二人の気持ちがわかるわ。純粋にシンのことを思って二人はきっと後悔なんかしてない。
Just don't sacrifice yourself to me. I don't want to think about you with my half-baked feelings.
私だって私がいい加減な気持ちで言っていると思っているの？一時の感情に流されていると。
That's... Celis took Shin's hand. He feared he'd get the urge again, but that thirst did not come even when she wrapped her hands around. Instead, his heart throbbed in a different manner.
私強くなりたい。さっきのようにかばわれる側ではなくて誰かを守る立場になりたいの。ハルモニア派を選んで私心から良かったと思っているわ。シンとなら今の自分をもっと高められると信じているから。だから。
Celis looked up. Shin's eyes met with hers that held a strong will.
あなたが苦しんでいるのに見て見ぬふりなんてできない。あなたのためにしてあげられることがあるなら私はそれを迷ったりしない。
Celis. Frustration built in his chest. If he could, he would want to hold her, touch her skin, and brush her beautiful hair. That was not the dark emotions triggered by the crush on. It was his love for her. No, he wants to believe that. I appreciate your thoughts. I want to become a man that can match your feelings, Celis.
共に強くなっていきましょう。今はそれでいいのではないかしら。
Well, as if the chaos of the previous night was a lie, the morning was peaceful. Birds chirped on the roof of the monastery as the dew on the herbs shimmered in the sunlight. Even if the peace was temporary, the area around the monastery was serene as if it was hard to believe the oblivion was near. Shin washed his face with the water from the well. The frigid water cleared his mind.
おはよう、シン。
Oh, Celis. Good morning. That was when he noticed Celis standing behind him. Thinking of what happened the night before, his face turned hot. Celis' face was also flushed.
そこ変わってもらっていいかしら。なんだか暑くて。
Yeah, sure. Shin stepped aside as Celis used the water in the pail to aggressively wash her face.
それでもう大丈夫なの？その汚れは。
Ah, yeah, thanks to you.
それならよかったけど。
Celis' face turned red from whatever she imagined. What about you? Are you feeling alright?
私もちろん平気よ。
we had a lot of things we had to ask Arya and my master, didn't we?
ええ、ちょうど朝食を用意してらしたから、食卓で話を聞ければいいわね。
The two hesitantly smiled. It seemed a bit awkward, but he managed to change the subject. But just as he thought that, the morning silence was disrupted by the sound of a visitor.
今のは
A clapper. If someone enters the barrier, it's supposed to ring.
では侵入者、まさかカイマが。
Shin and Salas faced each other before rushing back.
よーシン、調子はいいみたいだな。
おはよう、シン、セレス。
Albert, Henry, where's the intruder?
あそこ。でも侵入者とは違うのだわ。
Looking at where Henry pointed, he spotted a girl with a baggy robe leisurely walking toward them. She's that girl who was with my master yesterday.
カイマじゃなかったのね。あの姿、ジューマかしら。
Isn't she the origin? It's Kibe, right? Probably, but it's my first time seeing her. As they exchanged words, the girl approached them.
おかえりなさい、キュベ様。その様子だと、ミニルは大丈夫だったみたいですね。多少汚染された後遺症が残っておるが、あの程度ならば酷化することはあるまい。
He went to check up on the god.
あれも可愛い我が献身ゆえな。
Huh? Kin?
それに、キュベ様って。
おや？アルベルトスやアリアは我のことをまだ話しておらんかったのか？
She's the origin of the earth. The girl looked at Shin with a dumbfounded gaze. Earth or wind? The color makes me think wind, but like... Shin had a vague idea and turned to Arya. Hey Arya, I wanted to ask this before, but is Kibe...
地のオリジンキュベ。マルドゥックやシャマシュと並ぶ最古にして最上位の送信。
Okay, Earth. It is Earth. Then she's...
そう、マルちゃんと同じ。オリジンがその意識や知恵の一部を投影したかりそめの姿よ。まあ、そういうことじゃな。
The girl referred to as Kibe nodded blindly as Shin and Celis were left in shock. Soon after, they all went inside the monastery. The table was filled with Miss Sonia's cooking. It was hard to believe they were in the middle of a quest while they happily ate breakfast.
セレス姫、しばらく見ない間に美しくなられた。お父上は元気にしているだろうか。と言っても、あいつは殺しても死ぬような玉ではないが。
He's not one to die even when he's killed. Wow, okay.
ええ、父は変わりありません。今回のオブリビオンにアルベルトス様が立ち向かわれていると知ったら、何よりも頼もしく思うはずです。
いや何、私など君たちのような若者に抜かれていくだけの老人だよ。
そのようなことは、私たち後進の錬金術師にあまりに多くの道を示されたお方ですのに。
まだ若いのに勝手に一線を引いて引きこもっているんだもの。もったいないよね。
At her father's modesty, Arya pouted, disgruntled. Yet Alberto's kept a calm smile on his visage.
ごちそうさま。トーストもお野菜もみんな美味しかったのだわ。
それはよかった、エンリ。
この付近はダストで土壌が汚染されやすいはずなのに、こんな新鮮なお野菜が食べられるなんて思ってませんでした。危ないところを助けてもらった上に美味しい食事まで、心から感謝を、アルベルトス様。
実際に調理したのはソニアさんだろう。ああ、 やはり女性がいると食卓一つとっても華やかになる。ソニアさんはきっといいお嫁さんになるだろう。
こんな簡単な料理でアルベルトス様にそう言っていただけるなんて恐縮です。
いや、謙遜することはない。うちの娘も料理はするのだが、これが胃薬必須な代物でね。
ちょっと父さん、どういう意味？
It's exactly what he means.
何か言った？
Arya shot a glare, picking up on Shin's mutter. No, just your cooking is full of uniqueness.
そう。じゃあ今度、実験台に付き合ってもらおうかしら。
Did you just call me a lab rat?
それはいい。若者は何事も挑戦すべきだ。どれ、私は胃薬の代わりに食後のデザートなど持ってくるとしよう。
Don't run away from this, master. Ignoring Shin's cries, Alberto hurries into the kitchen.
いいじゃねえか、シン。幼馴染の愛情こもった手料理なんて羨ましいシチュエーションだ。
You have no idea how Arya flavors stuff. It's so spicy to the point not even my philosopher's stone can nullify it.
なんですって？
That's a chef in a nutshell. Arya tried to grab Shin from across the table.
アリア、そろそろ話を聞きたいのだけど。
Arya paused just as she was about to thrash her iron claw at Shin.
私たち、あなたに聞きたいことがいろいろあるわ。別行動をとっていた間のことや、どうしてアルベルトス様と一緒に助けに来てくれたのかとか。
そうですね。今日までの経緯を聞きたいです。そこにおられるキュベ様のことも含めて。
Sonia shifted her gaze toward the girl god. Kibe continued to sip her tea indifferently, but she muttered a short response.
説明は億劫じゃ。アリア任せた。
はい。では、
Arya took a seat back on her chair and lightly coughed.
順を追って話すね。シンたちと別れてから、私は当初の予定通り、ホレブ山に向かったの。
家臣ウガルルムとアンズーをマドルーク派に解放してもらうためね。
そう。それでまず、私は彼らのドール工場にもなってる工房に出向いたんだけど。
日進は、ちゃんと返還してもらえましたか？
学長の令状もありましたから、それに工房はドールの生産に大わらわで、厄介事は早く済ませたかったみたいです。それで家臣は誘拐された時と同じように、ドールの運搬で元の場所に戻されることになったんだけど。
Did something happen? To Shin's inquiry, Arya's expression clouded.
シンは、あの工房で、家臣に特殊配合のリキッドを投与しているのを見たよね。
Yeah, it was to make the dust crystals used to power the dolls, right? The Heinous gods that were caught by the Marta College were fed with nutrients while it was put under a coma. That was how the dust crystals were created.
あのリキッドは家臣に負担を与えるわ。ヨハン教授は腎症のことを胆石とか癌細胞と呼んでいたの。
でも私が工房を訪ねた時、ニシンはすでに大量のリキッドを投与された後だったの。
ウガルルムとアンズンの健康状態が良くなかったんですか？
もともと過信ですし、仮死状態での封印だから、いいも悪いもないかもしれないですけど。
Arya continued in a serious tone.
体のあちこちに腫瘍ができていて、ちょっと放っておける状態じゃなかったんです。
ひどい。マルドゥク派の人たち、
きっと分かっていて放置していたのね。
ヨハン教授は過信を阻止への災いとしか考えていませんから。
If the colleges are different, their ideas are different. There's no way we can be compatible. The Armenia College aims to purify the Aegis gods. Their objective were completely different from the Immortal College, who used them as resources.
それで私、マルドゥック派の錬金術師と交渉して、ニシンの解析データを渡してもらったの。
Data analysis?
詳しい状態を調べて、何かできないか考えてみようと思って、マルちゃんにも知恵を借りてね。
Got to meet up with Marduk.
元気にしていた？
Questioned by Enri, Arya's expression falters.
マルちゃんは、ホレブさんのダストと、今も戦い続けてるよ。私、あの子のためにも、ウガルルムとアンズーは何とかしてあげなくちゃって思った。もし過信から送信に戻すことができても、あの状態じゃ気の毒すぎるもの。
アリアも頑張っていたのね。それで何か明暗が見つかって？
それなんだけど、まず、原因を除去することを考えてみたの。
Arya raised the finger with a composed look.
治療には、腫瘍ができる原因になってる体内の不純物を浄化する必要があるでしょ？それで私、マルドゥック派と逆の方法が取れないかと思って。
マルドゥック派と逆の方法？
They injected the special liquid inside the god's body. On humans, it's like overdosing on vitamins and nutrients straight into the blood vessels.
その逆ということは、血液を抜き出す、あるいはろ過して正常な血液を循環させることでしょうか。
At least that can stop the conditions from becoming worse.
そうね。でもその工程を実行に移すには、臓器の機能を補ってくれる代替物が必要だったの。
臓器の機能を補うって、本当にそんなことができるの？
Alice asked with suspicion.
心臓や肺、腎臓など弱った内臓器官を代用する仕組み。その昔、アスクレピオスという錬金術師の提唱した理論に同じものがあった。
アルベルトス様！
Albertus was carrying a large plate of fruit. As he said earlier, it seems like he prepared dessert.
アルベルトス様の手を煩わせるなんて、申し訳ありません。
なに、進んでやったまでだよ。忍者の暮らしが長いと、もてなす相手が欲しくなるものでね。いや、久しぶりに華やいだ気分だ。
もう、お父さんたら。
And Elsa's vitamin says, of course, is known as a favorite vitamin. I mean, that's why you don't eat the powder. You don't want to taste the powder. Like, you just swallow it quickly, right? Or, just eat vegetables. Vegetables and fruits. Vegetables and fruits are fine. They taste good. If it's like raw vitamins and minerals, yeah, that tastes bad. Freaking raw dogging like vitamin C.
お前たち食べないのか？よく売れておるぞ。我が地と大地の力を与えてやったからの。
As she spoke, Kiba began to eat. She took a bite into an apple and chomped away.
ほれ、お前たちもたんと食べるがよかろう。
ありがとうございます。では。
はい、いただきましょう。
As Miss Sonia reached for the plate, the others followed and took the fruit.
甘くて美味しいの。
Yeah, it's a blessing from the forest. I wish we can protect it from oblivion.
そういえばアルベルトス様、さっきのお話ですが。
As Alice savored the apple, she continued.
臓器の機能を補うことが本当に可能なのですか？
人間での治療なら過去に成功例がある。さっき言った 錬金術師アスクレピオスの施術だね。
Raw dogging vitamin C as well, yeah. I mean, raw dogging any like vitamin or mineral, like just powder, is like it's some insane behavior. I mean, cool, good for you, I guess, if you're like that, if that's how you get your nutrients. But man, that must taste miserable.
アスクレピオス。100年以上昔の錬金術師ですね。錬金術の医術への応用に優れた功績を残していて、図書館にも彼の書籍は収められています。
Wait, isn't the other bad guy's name Asclepius Agrippa, or am I just imagining that?
はい。私もそれで思いついたことなんです。もし送信を相手に、アスクレピオスの施術を再現できたらって。それで試作した装置をウガルルムとアンズーにつないでね。体内の毒素を抽出ろ過する実験をしてみたんです。
すごい。一人でそんな装置を作ってしまうなんて。
マルちゃんの知識を借りたからできたことだよ。じゃなきゃ、とても実践なんてできなかった。
Did the experiment work? Jin leaned forth in anticipation. Arya turned her head slightly and released a thoughtful sigh.
経過を見た限りでは、体内の数値は好転していたよ。だけど、完全に治療できるかは、まだ未知数ってところかな。本当はもっとついていたかったんだけど、こっちに遠征する期日が近づいてきて。
Seems like Arya left Mount Holub after their conditions were stabilized. Only their blood levels normalized. That didn't mean the corroded bodies will get better, but as long as they remain in a temporary coma, it would buy time. Arya must have made that decision.
アリアさんもいろいろ頑張ってくれていたんですね。さすがハルモリア派のエースです。
いや、エースなんてそんな。ソニア先生ならどうするかって、ずっとそればかり考えてたんですから。
No, I think you're amazing to do this all by yourself.
アリアのこと見直したのだわ。
あはは、エリちゃんにそう言われると照れちゃうな。でも結局、遠征の出発日には間に合わなかったし。
Arya's shy laugh turned into an apologetic expression. By the way, how did you get here? That was another question Shin had on his mind. While they battled Cinderella, Shin did not know what Arya was doing up until she arrived.
みんなとの合流が間に合わないと分かって、私はこのアリアドナの森に直接向かうことにしたの。
Hey, it's Dark Cubed GD1. This is The Alchemist of Ars Magna. It's actually in the stream title, but it's a visual novel. I keep hearing Sugoi. I feel like I know Japanese.
それに試作した装置ももっと完全なものにしておきたかった。だからまず父さんに連絡を取って知恵を借りようと思って。
Albertus was already a hermit inside this forest. Even if he was traveling with the Oblivion, alchemists had several ways to communicate. It was rather easy for a father and daughter to reunite.
娘から事のあらましを聞き、私は典型を得た。そして二人で共同してこれを作ったのだよ。
Next to the plate of fruit, Albertus placed an artifact that was clearly a product of alchemy. This is...
瓶詰めの心臓。送信用のろ過装置の改良版よ。
Heart in a bottle? What the... Like the name suggested, there was a device in the same shape as a heart inside a clear glass bottle. The heart wasn't just a decoration, and once the device was activated, it is made to actually pulsate.
この心臓と送信をバイパスする。するとその間、疑似血液はこちらに循環し、ダストや老廃物のろ過が行える。
素晴らしい発明です。それであの送信を黒化から救えたのですね。 でも、タイミングよくあそこに駆けつけられたのはどうして？
我は地のオリジンじゃ。森の中のダストの流れを追うなどたやすいこと。
彼女とは交信するようになったね。
今風に言えば、ペンフレンドというやつじゃな。
It's so funny. They call it modern days pen pal.
ちっとも今風じゃねえ。
Oh, even in their world, it's not even modern either. Okay.
キュベと交信を試みたのは、エンリの使命のことが何か分かればいいと思ったからなのだけどね。
何か知ってるの？
Henry leaned forward energetically. The mission given by Astarte served importance and was also related to her reason of being. Shin directed his gaze of expectation toward the girl who sat before him.
アスタルテは英知のオリジンじゃ。あやつが分霊たるお主に賢者の意志を託して祖師へに使わしたのには必ず意味がある。
賢者の石が使命に関係しているというの？
答えを急ぐでない。あるいはお主の記憶がないことさえそれなりの理由があるかもしれぬぞ。
While hinting at something, Kibe brought a cherry to her mouth.
答えは自分で探すしかない。
今重要なのはオブリビオンをどうにかすることだ、エンリ。さもなければ使命の意味さえ塵と化し消えてしまう。
今回の侵食現象の中心には人の姿を模したカイマがおる。我はアルベルトスと共にあやつを追っていたのじゃ。あの場にシンたちがいたのはこっちも驚いたんだよ。シンならもしかしてとは思ってたけど。
So that's why. They were all taking action based on Cinderella's movements, though being able to reunite at that moment was pure luck.
しかし、あのハイカブリ姫というカイマ、一体どういう存在なのでしょうか。人の姿をしているだけではなく、高度な知性をも備えていました。
She also was able to spawn ash demons, control the dust, and use something like alchemy spells.
真のことを狙っていたようだし、あまりに特殊すぎるわね。
As their conversation continued, their differences began to emphasize. Just remembering the incident brought fear. With a glum expression, they exchanged glances.
彼女は、いや、あれは。
Master, do you know anything?
破壊者。そうあだ名される者たちがいることは、君たちも知っているだろう。彼らは錬金術師でありながら、その技能と知識をオーズの拡大のために使っている。
それではまさか、ハイカブリ姫というのは。
かつて人間の錬金術師だったもの。そして今は、破壊者のあり方と限りなく近い。あれの背後には、破壊者アグリッパが暗躍している。今回のオブリビオンも、彼らが元凶と見て間違いはないだろう。
The Destroyer, Agrippa.
その名は聞いたことがあります。最重要の危険人物として指名手配されていたはず。
Then the one who's turning the forest into ore is a human? Was this a calamity brought upon by man? It was hard to believe that a person could have created an oblivion that massive. Shin didn't want to believe it, since that would be too sacrilegious. Like alchemists, they may be tempted into trying forbidden techniques or taint their hands to evil to discover more. However, Shin could not understand why they would want to destroy the world for that. Sacrificing so many people and nature, they seriously don't think of anything. They don't feel anything. Memories of his youth flashed back, lost days due to the dust, his hometown gone, memories of his family. Suddenly an ominous amount of rage built inside Shin's chest. If the destroyers are trying to end Socio with human hands, I won't be able to forgive them, ever.
シン。
Henry turned to him as her expression quivered. Shin took a moment before snapping back.
今、とっても怖い顔してたの。
Sorry. Shin quickly apologized. The extreme rage that consumed his heart was somehow pacified.
まあ、小僧が憤るのも当然じゃな。人の身で祖師へを滅ぼそうなぞ。思い上がりも甚だしい。いや、我らが造物主、開祖においてすら許されぬ所業じゃ。
キュベ様、さっき破壊者を追っていたとおっしゃっていましたが。
きっかけは我が献身であるニニアが後進を絶ったことじゃった。
ニニア？
昨日君たちが助けようとした送信ニニルの片割れだ。ニニルとニニアは双子の送信なのだ。
森の守護を担う双子のエンシェント級。
オーズの拡大を狙う破壊者には邪魔な存在じゃな。故にあやつらはまずニニアを狙ったのであろう。その後起こった侵食現象によって我はニニアが黒化させられたことを知ったのじゃ。
Before Ninya was eclipsed first. The intensity of ancient class gods was what they experienced on Mount Holeb. With the many ash demons, Cinderella and the Aegis god, the expansion of the Oblivion is inevitable. As a result, the Oblivion consumed over a third of the massive forest area on an unprecedented scale.
じゃあもしかして森の侵食は過信になってしまったニニアをどうにかしないと止められないの？
根本的な解決にはそれしかないだろう。
幸いニニルは国家の前に救うことができた。我はさっきあやつからニニアの居場所を聞き出してきたのじゃ。双子であるあやつらはどんなに濃いダストの中でも互いの位置を感じ取ることができるからの。
Phoebe shoved the last apple left on the plate in her mouth and pulled out a small bottle from her pocket. Inside the bottle was sand. She sprinkled that onto the empty plate as the sand began to move on its own to form a shape.
これは？
森の不完図じゃ。そしてこれが現在のダスト分布。
Skiba blew, the sand art on the plate rippled.
最後にここが家臣ニニアの居場所じゃ。
Phoebe dropped the cherry pit on the northeastern part of the forest surrounded by the dust.
当然一帯は汚染が進み、ほぼオーズと化しておる。何らかの対策を講じねば一刻と経たず人化してしまうほどにの。じゃがそれでも行かねばならぬ。放っておけばこの森はオーズの災いによって腐り果ててしまうじゃろう。
With that said, Kibi concluded her talk. The forest created by her sand art showed the complications of the exploration that awaited them. There was a heavy moment of silence among the group.
アルベルトス様、ことは重大です。錬金術師が総力を結集して当たるべきでしょう。私は王国にこの情報を報告する義務があると考えます。例えばマルドゥック派のドールならダストの汚染下でも活動できますし。
でもマルドゥック派に任せたら過信になったニニアは消滅されてしまうわ。
ですが残された時間は多くありません。認めたくありませんが、私たちにはまだ家臣を救う手段がないんです。
瓶詰めの心臓も家臣を浄化できるところまでは行っていないからね。それに今回は相手を仮死状態にして封印するような余裕もないかもしれない。
Arya and Miss Sonia looked on in despair. The point where Ninya was thought to be was contaminated with a lethal amount of dust. There were several countermeasures like the Philosopher's Stone or dust-proof fabric, but they had limits.
この話をしたのは今の状況を君たちからファウストに伝えてほしかったからだ。私もキュベと最善は尽くすつもりだが、王国の助けがあるのは正直ありがたい。
Hey, Steel. Are you planning on going up against the destroyers and Ninya's gods?
アグリッパやハイカブリ姫のような存在を 放ってはおけないからね。
Is this verification scene? Yep, you did.
その点、我らの利害は一致しておる。我が地のオリジンとしての権能で、大地の力を絞り出せば、少々のダストは中和できるであろう。
That's right, the crevice from yesterday. During the battle with Cinderella, Kibe created an earthquake that saved Shin and the others. The crack that was formed not only separated the enemy from them, but also functioned to suck in the dust with strong winds. With that ability, we can lower the dust levels in the area. Maybe we can explore in the flesh.
まあ、不可能ではないのじゃ。
Please, Master, allow me to join you. If you're facing a destroyer and heinous gods, I can...
君は昨日のことでまだ懲りていないのか、シン。私たちが間に合わなければ君たち全員が犠牲になっていたというのに。
Regard into his release. Oh, is it today? I knew it was like this month. I don't remember what day it was, but is it already out? Wow, okay. Huh. I'll think about it. Actually, I don't know if I have I'll have to check. I'll have to check like after I come back from Japan whether I can like buy it soon or not. Either that or I just wait for like a sale, probably. Consider buying civil merch while you're there. I mean, I am gonna buy stuff. I'm gonna buy stuff when I go there. That's still.
意気込みは買おう、シン。しかし勇気と無謀を履き違えてはいけない。
A note of rebuke was in Alberto's voice. Shin turned silent, unable to argue back.
とにかく今はファウストに状況を知らせることだ。君たちは君たちのできる役割を果たしなさい。いいね。
Yes. Reza figurine 1-to-1 scale. Dude. Dude, if there was... actually... Oh man. I don't know if I'll be able to find some of Groza's figures though. Cause she has quite a few. His master's insistent tone, Shin couldn't help but nod. I'll definitely try to buy at least like one. I'll probably look for like other GFL merch as well. Behind the expansion of Oblivion are the Destroyers. Their enemy was Cinderella, an ash demon with intelligence who was using the heinous god Ninya to rot the forest and return it to dust. That information brought shock among many. The military and the Marduk College reviewed their operation and decided to increase the number of dolls to handle the heinous god Ninya. In the meantime, other colleges prepared the support system and built a defense line to go against the increase of ash demons and the expansion of the Oblivion. The Dust Battlefront in the northern forest was about to reach a critical point. The military and all units returned to the camp in the rear to restock. Spotting an old friend, Celis rushed to the officer commanding the unit.
サーシャ、よかった、無事だったのね。
これは姫様、もちろんです。不詳、このアレクサンドラ、これ式の戦いで傷を負ったりなどしません。
でも敵は得体が知れないから、くれぐれも無理はしないようにね。
ありがたいお言葉です。しかし心配はご無用。私には姫様方錬金術師の英知と頼もしき人形たちがついております。
Looking back at the dolls accompanying her, Major Alexandra assured her safety.
わかったわ。でも何かあったらいつでも助けを呼ぶのよ。
はっ。姫様こそお気をつけください。姫様のご気性なら後方での待機に甘んじたりはしないのは分かっていますが。
Yeah, so the beetle's actually fine now. And then pretty much after the dust detox scene, like they were basically just talking about like how Arya got there in the first place and also what happened over in Mount Holub. And the reason she took a while before she was able to catch up is because they had to like figure out a way or like a temporary solution to deal with essentially the over injection of like vitamins on the two gods that were like in stasis. And then they basically came up with like an artificial external heart that can be used for like dealing with the detox of like the other gods whenever they take in like dust. Basically, they have like a substitute heart for gods now. It's not like a perfect thing though, but with it they were able to like stabilize the two over in Mount Holub and then also like purify the beetle. She then locked her gaze toward Shin, who followed behind Celis.
おい貴様、その身に変えても姫様をお守りするのだぞ。騎士として姫様の友をする任務を誉れと思え。
Wait, but I'm not a knight?
何か
Nothing. I will certainly protect Celis. The Celis' sharp glare. Shin reflexively stood straight. I think this is supposed to be Sasha. Yeah, this is like a translate or localization error. This is supposed to be Sasha, not Celis.
では姫様、補給がありますので私はこれで。
ええ、ではまたね、サーシャ。
The Major saluted her as she returned to the camp with her troops. Shin and Celis watched her leave.
少し融通が利かないところはあるけど、優秀な人なのよ。国や民をとても大事に思ってくれている。
And about you too. If she finds out about the thing with Celis, I bet she'd be furious with me. Don't talk about it, man. Finn trembled at the thought of both Faust and Major Alexandra strangling him.
シン、どうかした？
No, I hope she does well in battle, yep.
そうね。だけど
Celis' expression suddenly clouded.
ドール部隊の活躍は家臣の討滅を意味するわ。
Yeah.
状況的に予断は許さないことは分かっている。でもシンは本当にそれでいいと思っていて。
Of course, I don't think we can stay like this, but even if we charge in blindly, we won't be able to win against the destroyers or Cinderella. Losing cooperation with the military or the Martyr College when handling the heinous gods is exactly what the enemy wants.
それはそうね。
In the previous battle, if they made one mistake, they would have been done for. Only the Harmonia College went into the forest recklessly to take on an unknown humanoid ash demon cornering themselves. Anyhow, I'll give it a little more thought.
ええ、私はいつでも出られるよう準備しておくわね。
Finn waved and went his separate way. As he walked by the forest near the camp, he thought of what to do next.
らしくねえな、シン。お前のことだからドール部隊を出し抜いて家臣を封印するくらいは言い出すかと思ったぜ。
Albert, you heard us, huh?
ま、俺としちゃおもりの心配をしなくてよくなる方が助かるけどな。だが本当にいいのか、このままで。
Well...
ビビんなよ。破壊者も軍もマルドック派も全部まとめて出し抜くくらいの気概持ってもいいんじゃねえか。
That's crazy.
俺はハルモニア派ってわけじゃないがな。ま、お前らだけじゃ危なっかしいし、付き合ってやるのも悪くない。
With that said, Albert pointed his fist at Shin's chest. Albert, why do you lend us your powers this much?
ほん？なんだよ急に。
Because you're like a guard that's hired by the academy. Instead of sticking with us, there are other groups that would pay you better, and yet you...
お前らが気に入ってる。じゃあダメか？
I appreciate the thought, but why? Albert pulled out a cigarette. He bit down on it with a disgruntled look without lighting it.
俺はな、本当は錬金術師になりたかったんだ。ダストに怯えるこの世界に英知っつう力を振りかざす錬金術師によ。けど残念なことに落ちこぼれちまったからな。術式やら調合やら、どうも俺には素質がなかった。
But that's why you became a guard?
せめて俺が憧れた錬金術師の力になってやりたいって考えた。お前らハルモニア派は弱小だが、ポーズに立ち向かおうとする姿は俺の思い描いた錬金術師に一番近い。だから
After saying that, Albert scratched his cheek in embarrassment.
お前の信じた道があるなら譲るなよ。俺のように簡単に諦めるんじゃねえ。
Albert.
ああ、くそ。恥ずかしいこと言っちまった。俺としたことが。
Albert scratched his head, trying to hide his blush. No, thank you. It hit me hard. Jin extended his hand toward Albert's face and snapped. Small ember sparked and lit a fire on the cigarette he was chewing.
Oh.
Harmonia College has its own ways of doing things. If we don't lose sight of our beliefs, we should be able to see what we should do. We aren't almighty enough to solve all problems, but we have to do our best so we don't regret anything. Harmonia College has limited power. To intervene, they are required to have speed and accuracy to assess the matter. Instead of worrying about what they can do, they have to be able to take action immediately when something occurs. Thanks. I've learned a good life value.
ちょっとはらしくなったか?
Man, why does he smoke, man? Albert laughed after a few coughs. Okay. So. Ooh, free dungeon number 4. That's another... Oh. Northern Forest? Bruh. Bro, we have a new forest to farm in? Okay, hopefully it has like better rewards, but we're... should I do this now? Should we just check it out once? We have new key items we can craft now. Should I do it once or should I just continue with the main story? Just need more farm. I already farmed off stream. I was talking about it at the start of the stream actually still, but I did some farming off stream and I was able to craft like 3 equipment. I crafted the metal knuckles for Shin and then the wind circuit for Arya, and then I also crafted the Arachne picks for Enri. So everyone has like their secret gear or secret attack now. And they're all like at least D+ on the rating for their equipment. Just once. Fine, let's do the Northern Forest ones just to see what it looks like, and then we'll continue with the main story. Oh, it's more. No.
今回の目的は、しっかり頑張ろう。
Okay. Something else happened? Did something else happen? What do you mean?
Oh, 見つけた。
ここで休憩タイムね。
これは嬉しいわね。
いいもの拾っちゃった。
いいものを見つけたようですよ。
頃の研鑽の成果、出てたかな？
Did this be better?
よかった。
Healing
見つけ
herbs?
たのね。もらっていきましょう。
Oh, branches of longevity directly. We don't have to freaking do the old logs.
日頃の研鑽の成果。
Oh, because I sped up the battle. I sped up the battle settings. So over in the battle settings, I basically removed the standby time and I put it the fast battle speed. Also like no click standby, so the battles should like go faster when I put them on auto.
Yoshi, この調子でいこう。お、見つけた。
Okay, so it seems like the northern forest farming area is basically just a better version of the nearby forest because it's dropping pretty much the same materials. Pokemon should do that. Can you not adjust battle speed in the newer Pokemon? I know in the old Pokemon you can't, but like, don't the newer Pokemon games have the option? Or you still have to like, what? You still have to like watch the entire animation.
Yoshi, この調子でいこう。
いいもの拾っちゃった。
よかった。見つけたのね。
Never played it before. Really? Interesting.
日頃の研鑽の成果、出てたかな？
これは素晴らしいですね。
Well, I guess it's not that surprising. Like, I guess there are some series where it's like, it's pretty famous, but then not everybody actually has played like even a single game in those series. Like in my case, like I haven't played a Final Fantasy game ever. To be honest.
ここなら大丈夫そうですね。
So I guess it shouldn't be that surprising that there are people who haven't played any Pokemon game at all.
素晴らしい戦いでしたよ。
よかった。見つけたのね。
Dog, I was like spending so much time in that nearby forest trying to farm
これは嬉しいわね。
old logs to make branches of longevity so that I could make spiritual mercury, and then you just give me directly spiritual mercury in this forest. You're kidding me, bro.
ここで休憩タイムね。
You're fucking kidding me, man. Like, I could have just progressed the story so we can get to this forest, and then I farmed here instead. God damn it, bro. That's insane. Last Pokemon game is Pokemon Stadium. The 64 might be too young. It was a non-Steam game. No, I remember Pokemon 64. I didn't play it, but I remember it. You played Tamagotchi?
素晴らしい戦いでしたよ。
Ooh, golden apple branches. So we kind of need these. I know Tamagotchi, but I don't think I've ever had a Tamagotchi before. I get the concept though. But I don't think I had one ever. Okay. Damn, okay, so we can just get Spiritual Mercury and the next tier of material as well, the golden apple branches in that map. Do I have any equipment I can just craft like immediately right now? I wonder? Heliodor. How do I make Heliodor? This one requires 1 Spiritual Mercury and 4 white barrel. I only have 3. I think I might be able to get to a map later down the line that just gives me the Heliodor I need to get the Arbalest, so I think I'm not gonna make that right now. I can probably farm for this off stream, just get the Devil Claw. Either that or I just wait for... I guess I could also just wait for the Fairy Claw, because we're keeping Enri's role as like a support character. As opposed to, if she goes to Devil Claw, she doesn't... she loses Life Wing and she gets Rush String instead, which is like... I think we're fine on damage, so... might be better to go for Life Wing. We'll wait for the map that gives us Dragon Meat. The best fire spot found. Hey, just one more. No! Never played so God. It's a curious reference though. That map didn't give Flowers of Senju plants, but... Wait, did we get a white herb from... Well, I guess even if we didn't get a white herb from that forest, I think we get enough mushrooms that I can probably just craft the white herb anyway. To get the Flower of Senju plant, although ideally I would like a farming spot for the Flower of Senju plant specifically, and then that way we can maybe get the Lightning Hilt for Celes. And then for Arya I can probably wait for Earth Circuit. So that means waiting for a map that gives Dragon Meat as well. For Shin I can technically get the Brass Knuckles already. I don't know why the Brass Knuckles are higher than the Metal Knuckles, but... Would it be better to go Brass Knuckles now instead of waiting for the Gold Saber? Fairy Butterfly Wings, what does that require? Golden Apple Branches. We can farm the Golden Apple Branches, I guess. And then just make a Fairy Butterfly Wing and then get a Gold Saber. I can farm for that off stream, I guess. I don't know when we'll be able to have Bren on the party again, so I don't know if it's worth upgrading to the Ninja Star right away, even though we have the materials for it. And then for Albert, I think I can just wait for the Mithril Ore for this one. Yeah. Oh well. Let's take a save. I'm already in 4th page of save slots. I'll take a save. And then let's start this Trap of the Destroyer. The decaying sea of trees, the destroyer lurks in the darkness. Shin and his friends immediately head north to help the god of the earth facing danger. The dolls were marching through the forest. Their mechanical bodies moved through deep swamps, and a mist of dust that would make a person struggle to breathe followed. They were a unit under Professor Johann's direct control. Unlike standard dolls, they were finely tuned, their performances improved, and can be controlled remotely by an alchemist of the Marduk College. For the many dolls deployed, this was the elite unit. And the said elite units were after... The leading doll's sensor caught a reaction. 12 meters up front, within the thick layer of soil, there was the source of the dust in sight. Rolling them from a distance, Professor Johann rapidly commanded the dolls to spread, surrounding the source of the dust. They positioned themselves in a semicircle. With that, they aimed their forearm to the target, and the hints that dolls can be controlled by dust humans. From what I understand, they are created with some dust help. Yeah, basically the dust are made of... or they're powered by, like, the tumors that are extracted from heinous gods. That's kind of what they use for their power core. But I don't think the dolls are could be controlled by the dust humanoids. Though I have to say that the dolls don't really put up a fight against like actual intelligent dust humanoids. Like Cinderella just ripped the dolls apart with ease earlier. So Dirt Rose is the object hiding within Earth showed itself. That was
抜け殻だと。
Professor Johann furrowed his brows after confirming the image he received. The image contained a lot of noise and was hard to decipher, but something was speaking from underground. The silhouette was like a massive crustacean with a large tear on its back, revealing a hollow space. That must be why Professor Johann called it a shell.
ドールが探知していたのは抜け殻に残留していたダストか。しかしならば家臣本体はどこに行った。いやそもそも家臣が羽化したというのか。ダストをまくだけの家臣になぜ成長の必要がある。国化する際一部の形状変化が認められることはあるが、このケースはそれらとは根本的に違う。
Is that a right behind you moment? Oh no.
そうか。抜け殻の残留反応がデコイだとすれば、敵の狙いは。
ヨハン教授、緊急報告ですわ。
The moment Professor Johann turned around, this is supposed to be turned around, I think. Maltina, who was serving as a messenger, rushed over.
後方にカイマの大軍が出現。避難区域に向かって移動しているとのことですわ。
なるほど。破壊者の差し金か。この位置からでは移動に時間がかかる。我々はしてやられたようだ。
いかがいたしましょう、教授。
撤収準備を始めたまえ。同時にドールのネットワークを通じて防衛網の構築。我々が駆けつけるまで他の部隊に足止めをさせる。
はい、そのように。
Maltina quickly rushed back. Without a second thought, Professor Johann crossed his arms and began to think.
家臣の性能が予測通りなら足止めは間に合う。問題はあの抜け殻にデコイ以外の役割があるかどうかだ。
Then the others heard of the unexpected incident at the rear camp. The headquarters suddenly became chaotic and Salas questioned Major Alexander with a serious look of concern. Like an officer, the Major clearly reported the situation to her.
それじゃあカイマの群れが避難区域に向かっているのね。
精度の高い情報です。現在軍は至急戦線を下げて予備部隊も動員して防衛網の構築に当たっています。
That's so. I thought so. Even after the report, Shin appeared to be somewhat calm. To his reaction, the Major looked at him with confusion.
やっぱりとは。
I thought it was strange how the heinous god didn't move, since it would be efficient to spread the dust if it moved around, but it remained still. So I thought the enemy waited to lure us alchemists and the military.
破壊者は家臣が狙われるって予想できたはずだもの。それで偽の反応をおとりにしたんだ。
It was right for them to stay back thinking of worst-case scenarios. Apparently, the Ash Demons were at a reachable distance from where they were. Most likely, within that group was Cinderella.
早く出発しましょう。軍や他の学派とも連携すればきっとカイマを止められるわ。
姫様も行かれるおつもりですか。
ええ、今出なければ何のためにここにいるのかわからないわ。
ダストや対カイマ用のアイテムも準備バッチリなの。
Yeah, we also have an idea to beat Cinderella. This time we won't hold back.
ソリア先生、行きましょう。ここが正念場です。
ええ、そうですね。
どうかしたんですか？
気になることがあります。発見された家臣が抜け殻だったとしたら、本体はどこにいるのでしょうか。マウザー少佐、確認されたカイマの群れに 家臣がいるという情報はありますか？
Exactly, they plan to beat her? I have no clue. We'll have to see. We'll let them cook. We'll let them cook, man. Let them cook.
いや、そのような報告は入っていない。もしあれば、真っ先に私の耳に入っているはずだ。
やはり妙ですね。私たちが探すべきは、あるいは家臣の方なのでは。
Are you saying Cinderella is also a bait and the destroyers are going beyond that?
確信があるわけではないのですが、やっぱり気になります。
It was strange not knowing where the heinous god was. I felt something odd when, as soon as the shell was discovered, the ash demons made an appearance.
わかりました、先生。もう一度、ダストの動きを調べてみますね。
Use Shin as bait, she will hug you explode, bro. Dog. Arya touched the other gear on her wrist. The arrows on the surface slowly moved as it traced the concentration and spread of the dust.
カイマの群れがいるはずの座標で、ダストが急発生してるみたい。そのせいで、森のダストが大きく動いてる。
If Cinderella is among the army, it would be logical for the dust to move.
他におかしなところはないの？
ごめん。どこも汚染が進んでて。でも待って。これって。
何か見つけた？
うん。今まで目立たなかったけど、ダストの発生源になってるところがある。しかもこれ、急激に侵食が進んでる。嘘。こんな速さで汚染が広がるなんて。
アリアさん、詳しい座標を教えてください。
Saria began to turn pale. Miss Sonia asked in a calm tone.
ここから北西、アリアドナの森の深部です。
そこは、送信ニニルの管轄地ですね。
Are the destroyers targeting Ninil?
ニニルとニニアは、森を守護する双子の送信です。二神を家臣にできれば、北部大森林のすべてを王図にすることも不可能ではなくなりますね。
ニニルはキュベ様が守っているはず。それに父さんは破壊者を追っていました。
Forget your he had infinite retry times though. We don't have that here. We should go after them too. Even if it's just Master and Kibe, it would be dangerous with just them too. And I have a bad feeling. Shin shot a glance at Miss Sonia. Miss Sonia had a complicated expression as she nodded back.
姫様、私もお供を。
いいえ、これ以上戦力を割くことはできないわ。サーシャはカイマの迎撃にあたって。
しかし、それでは。
Dealing with the ash demons is also important. If we all leave the front line, the refugees will be attacked.
サーシャお願い。私たちが戦うのは民を守るためでしょ。だから。
姫様、なんと立派な志。そのお供をできないとは。
Sasha clenched her hands, trying to resist.
気休めかもしれねえが、姫さんたちには俺がついてるぜ。
貴様は。
Albert stepped in front of the major with a proud smile.
話は聞かせてもらった。やっぱり厄介なことになりやがったな。待機していて正解だったぜ。
Albert, will you come with us?
仕方ないだろ。これ以上戦力を割くわけにはいかないってのは姫さんの言う通りだからな。だったらここにいる俺たちが気張るしかねえ。カイマは軍が、家臣は俺たちが引き受ける。役割分担ってやつだ。
サーシャ、彼の腕は確かよ。これまでも何度か危ないところを助けてもらったわ。
兵士ですか。正直、その不遜な物言いには苛立ちを覚えますが、猛者ではあるようですね。
ま、こいつらに付き合うと修羅場には事書かねえからな。
Albert joked around, but his expression seemed tenser. Perhaps it was in anticipation to face a tough fight.
大丈夫？ なんだか顔色が悪いみたい。
この人数で破壊者や家臣に当たらなきゃならねえって考えれば無理はねえさ。けどやるしかねえんだろ。
Yeah, we can't have the enemy have it their way. The Ash Demons led by Cinderella bothered them too. With the limited amount of resources, they had no choice but to make a decision.
カイマの相手は我々にお任せください。必ずやその魔種から民を守ってみせます。
頼りにしているわ、サーシャ。あなたがそう言ってくれるから、私たちは後顧の憂いなく家臣のもとへ迎える。
We'll go ahead and search for the Genius God and the Destroyer and try to stop their plans.
ハルモニア派、出動です。
姫様、どうかご武運を。
サーシャもね。
Thus, the Harmonia College left the Ash Demons at the military and headed to the new dust swords that may be related to the Genius God. The contaminated area Arya found was corroding at a rapid pace. Massive amounts of dust had filled the area and the forest grounds were turned into a poisonous swamp. Ooh. They all put their hoods on.
前回近くを探索した時はこんなにひどくなかったのに。
It's pretty much ore now. Some trees turned into ash demons.
沼地にも何が潜んでいるかわからないわ。注意して進みましょう。
Swamp.
この一帯のどこかに家臣本体が。そしてきっと父さんたちも近くに来てる。
Let's go. Stick together. Let's continue after making a formation. The group went deep into the sea of trees. What's this location?
私の糸が新しい縁を紡ぐの。
Not another swamp. Okay, there's gonna be another part here. Okay.
日頃の研鑽の成果出てたかな。
よかった。
Branch
見
of
つけたの
longevity.
ね。
I'll take this one. Dust lowers MP. That's fine.
ねえねえ、これっ
The branch
て
of
いいものかしら。
longevity. Paralyzed blow.
この勝利がさらなる高みに導いてくれます。
いいもの拾っちゃった。
From Riza.
「私たちならやれて当然なのだわ。
Spiritual Mercury. Now I'm getting so much Spiritual Mercury, dog. Freaking.
ここで体を休めよう。
Let's go through this way. With the everything was already done. What else can be added?
自分の信念をどこまでも貫くまで。
Oh, I'm getting so much spiritual mercury here.
ねえねえ、これっていいものかしら。
Oops. Wrong button.
「私たちならやれて当然なのだわ。
Zero Vision was the one in
これは素晴らしいですね。
Dark Souls 2, right? I know there's like a area there where it's literally you're walking blind. Although I don't think that was a swamp. Was it?
素晴らしい戦いでしたよ。
休むのも仕事のうちね。もらっていきましょう。
The dust became thicker as they progressed into the forest. Shin was using the Philosopher's Stone to neutralize the dust, but if the concentration increased, the burden would be intense. Since the dust is getting thicker, the Aegis God is most likely back here.
地形がめちゃくちゃだわ。地面が溶け出して底なし沼みたいになってる。
ここから先に進むには何か対策が必要ですね。迂回路を探すとか。
でも河川を中心に汚染が広がっているなら、迂回しても安全な道が見つかるかしら。
難しいかも。時間が経つほどむしろ侵食が進む一方だし。
Black murky swamp was up in the distance. Going forth was suicidal, but if they didn't keep going, they'd be stuck.
気をつけろ。その木開幕してやがる。
Huh? The ground suddenly moved. The tree creaked as tentacles from the ash demon were exposed from the peeled bark. Ugh. The ash demon tree opened its jaw filled with fangs and attempted to swallow them along with the soil. Oh, what the hell? The tentacles and roots blocked their path as they lost their stance. Cursing himself for the delay, he activated his blade. That was when...
スパイラルサーキットコードオープン。大気汚れしダストごと凍てつきなさい。
The blizzard slowed the movement of the ash demon tree. The tentacles were iced over as cracks were formed from the tips. Shin took this moment to slash at the ash demon tree and escaped. The others also followed. That was close. On PS2, there's a shaded woods location, a round fog, and invisible enemies, but no swamp. And there is frigid outskirts with effectively zero vision, plus spawn spores that are the most dangerous things in the game. Man. That's a crazy idea to have in a game, I have to say.
油断するんじゃねえ。このダストノードじゃいつどこからカイマが襲ってくるかわからねえんだからな。
彼の言う通りだ。ここにはもう安全な場所はないと思いなさい。
Thank you for helping us, Master. As Albertus approached them, Shin thanked them. Next to him was Kiba in human form.
でも寒い。こっちまで凍っちゃうかと思った。
大丈夫アリア。
ヘンリちゃん、温めて。
私のモフモフは暖を取るためのものじゃないのに。
Sticking her wrist into Henry's feathers around her neck, Henry frowned as she gave up resisting.
良い戒めじゃ。これからはもっと周囲に気を配るがよい。しかし、お前たちも来るとはの。
ダストの不自然な動きを見つけまして。お二人がいらっしゃるということは、やはりここに家臣がいるんですね。
人型カイマが惑わそうとしておるようじゃが、こっちが本命と見て間違いなかろう。家臣となったニニアは片割れたるニニルを狙っておる。
They shall die soon? I don't think so. I knew it. Miss Sonia's prediction was right. Knowing they were approaching the destroyers, Shin began to grow scared. That was when Shin noticed Alberto staring at him. Master.
来てしまったのだね。できれば私は君たちを破壊者のような邪悪に近づけたくなかった。
You told us to fulfill our purposes. In this situation, only we were able to come here. I also want to save the gods as well. Even if I may be useless, I don't want to stay behind and twiddle my thumbs.
私も同じ気持ちだよ、父さん。ハルモニア派の全員が危険を承知でここまで来たの？
Arya followed Shin. To his disciples, Alberto slightly growled.
君たちにはこれから多くのことをなす未来がある。どうか生き急いではいけないよ。それが分かったなら私についてきなさい。
Yes, master. As Alberto's turned around, Shin bowed deeply.
でも、ここから先に進めないの。
Henry pointed to the acidic bubbling marsh.
キュベ様のお力でどうにかなりませんか？
That's right, with the powers you showed us during the battle with Cinderella. Shin turned to Kibe with hope in his eyes.
うむ。
Kibe nodded gravely and then slowly closed her eyes and focused. Oh? Shin felt a rumble by his feet. It wasn't a light tremor like the ash demon tree caused earlier. A powerful rumble transmitted from the depths of the earth.
始まる。
Right after, the ground cracked before Shin's eyes. The crack extended rapidly and consumed the swamp. Wow, the bottom of the swamp just dropped.
ダストまで一緒に飲み込んでいくわ。
ダストの濃度が減ってる。これなら探索が続けられるよ。
After consuming the swamp, the crack closed up once again. Witnessing an act of God, they couldn't help but be surprised or even moved by the event.
これで良いのじゃな。
助かりました、キュベ様。
言っておくが、この術は大地の力を振り絞って発動するものじゃ、我とて何度も使えるものではないぞ。さあ、家臣や破壊者はおそらくこの先じゃ。奴らを退けられねば先はないぞ。
分かっています。そのために私たちはここまで来ました。
ここからは私も同行しよう。キュベ、君にはニニルの守りをお願いしたい。
承知したのじゃ。ニニアとて容赦するでないぞ。
Numi's eye did not approve. Are you in favor of slaying the heinous gods, Lady Kibe?
致し方あるまい。完全に国化した送信はもはや戻ることはないのじゃからな。
Oh man, if even the Origin is saying that, even the Origin, Kibe, isn't thinking of purifying heinous gods. Were the things the Harmonia College trying to achieve going against Soki and the Apostles?
シン、今は前だけ見るの。
Henry. Yeah, you're right. Encouraged by Henry, Shin looked up. He turned toward the former swamp area cleared by Kibe. Let's go. We can't make the guardian god of the forest help spread oblivion any further. Meanwhile, the battle between the royal army and the ash demons was stalled. Against the ash demons that outnumbered them, the army continued long-distance battles using shooter-type dolls while keeping check. Until the Marduk elites arrived, they continued to stall them with attacks. This was exactly what Professor Yuan predicted, but they were able to accurately handle the inferior condition thanks to the ability of the field commanders.
エネルギー切れを起こしたドールは速やかに交代させろ。海馬に付け入る隙を与えるな。弾幕を絶やすなよ。我々が抜かれたら民が犠牲になることを忘れるな。
存外粘るのね。どんなにあがいたところで無駄なのに。
Oh, it's a normal gas mask.
貴様が話に聞いていた人型海馬か。
ハイカブリ姫と呼んで。この呼び名結構気に入ってるの。
ざれるな化け物。各員人型に攻撃を集中。
Soldiers and dolls all aimed for Cinderella and fired. However, Cinderella used her hair and the blade on both arms to block the shots.
惜しかったわね。
ひるむな。示弾装填。
That was when, as if Cinderella sensed something, she gazed up at the distant skies that were covered with dark clouds.
ダストの量が減った。この反応は覚えがある。あの時、私と少年の仰せを邪魔してくれた。まさか、あっちにいるの？
何をよそ見している。
Was Wanda swatted? A storm of bullets attacked Cinderella. Focused on the distant skies, she took on several of the shots. From the shock, the ash demon lost her balance.
やったか。
痛いわね。触れればすぐにチリアクタに帰る分際で。
さすがにしぶとい。波のカイマとは違うということか。
邪魔をしないでちょうだい。私には行くところができたの。あの漆黒の鈍頂の下で真が待っている。
真？鈍頂の下だと。
Alexandra looked at the distant skies where the humanoid pointed. The layer of dust draped down like a black curtain. That should be where the Harmonia College headed towards.
貴様、姫様のもとへ向かうつもりか。そうはさせんぞ。貴様のように危険な存在を姫様に近づけさせはしない。ドール、私を援護しろ。接近戦で奴を仕留める。
Oh no. Major Alexandra Mauser was a skilled swordsman that once taught Salas. Her electrifying swordplay easily cut through the tentacles of the ash demon as she rapidly closed in. Spirit Flash. Alexandra's sword slashed diagonally from her shoulder downward. Or so it did. The blade barely cut through Cinderella's collarbone. The moment the blade touched Cinderella's blood, the blade began to turn reddish and rusted. The few moments Alexandra was caught in shock were long enough to be fatal.
これで満足かしら。
Alexandra let out a scream as she arched back. She held her left arm as black smoke rose from it.
触れられただけ。ほんの一瞬触れられただけなの。沈下している。
Blop. Her blackened and discolored arm fell to the ground. Ew.
騎士としてみんなを守ってみせるわ。
日頃の研鑽の成果出てたかな。
いいものを見つけたようですよ。
私たちならやれて当然なのだわ。
少し休憩しましょう。お茶はどうですか？
Oh man. As soon as it said that she was gonna try and go for close quarters, it was like, it was over. Why would you think that was a good idea,
錬金
man?
術の奥義は戦いにも通じているんだ。
Why would you choose to go in, bro? That was such a bad idea.
少し休憩しましょう。お茶はどうですか？
お、見つけた。
White barrel, cool. Okay, countering the guns, why not? Yeah, but like, you know, like she's emitting dust. She's like the concentration of like the dust, man. Like, why would you go near it? You could get corroded just like that, bro.
日頃の研鑽の成果出てたかな。
これは嬉しいわね。
いいもの拾っちゃった。
ここなら安心して休めるのだわ。 れが私の騎士道よ。ねえねえ、これっていいものかしら。
ちょっと休憩していこうか。
Probably would hurt the wrist.
ねえねえ、これっていいものかしら。
ここなら大丈夫そうですね。
I don't know. I feel like it's still like a really bad decision. Oh wow, we can't go back. Okay, so that just forces us to take a reduced MP, huh? Let's see this battle. In the center of the glum swamp, there was something that looked like a black, lustrous rock floating. A massive body that seemed like a small island created ripples as it flowed out dust like water.
あれが家臣ニニア。森の守護を司っていた双子宗神の慣れの果て。
Looks like it's staying still.
あそこ、家臣の上に誰か乗っかっているの。
Someone crouched on the shell of the heinous god where Enri pointed. Its hand was held over the god and was doing something.
あれは錬金術のサークル。じゃああれが。
It's always like a real cool circle. It's a classic. That's an alchemy circle.
アグリッパ。
Alberto's tone was harsher than Shin has ever heard. Reacting to the name, the person on the heinous god rose. A robed figure with a mask hiding his face turned around.
叫ばずとも聞こえておるわ。偽りの賢者め。忍者なら忍者らしく黙って朽ち果てておればいいものを。
That's the destroyer, a heretic that uses alchemy to destroy Soki.
見た目からして怪しさ爆発だな。
しかしウヌラはついておるぞ。もうすぐ我が作品の仕上げが終わるところだ。記念すべき冒涜の瞬間に立ち会えることを感謝するがよい。
Masterpiece?
もしかして家臣のことを言っているの？
それよ。これはただの家臣ではないぞ。国化して落とす段階から俺が念入りに手を加えて改造を施したのじゃからして、今のこやつは王子の申しがひとたび目覚めれば総支援をダストで蝕む終わりの神よ。
How could you?
家臣を改造？なんて悪魔的な発想なの？
貴様の思い通りにはさせんよ、破壊者。家臣ニニアを目覚める前に封印する。無駄じゃ無駄じゃ。もはや間に合いはせぬ。
As the destroyer raised its hand, water columns rose from the marsh around the heinous god and dozens of ash demons appeared.
強行突破する。君たち、力を貸してくれ。
言われるまでもありません。
We won't let the destroyer have its way. Okay, I say his name. Oh, they talked about it earlier before we got into the mission, and they were like talking about it at the basically after the heart scene, and they were talking about like what's going on. Yeah, you kind of missed it. I'm not gonna put this on auto. Actually, I think I could put this on auto. Okay, these are just mobs. They're not like, this is not like an actual boss. Although auto doesn't use our SP gauge.
素晴らしい戦いでしたよ。
Oh my god, what the he just blasted through all of them. Okay. The ash demons blocking the way to the Aegis god continued to spawn. With them in the way, Shin and the others struggled to reach Nina.
シン、そこをどいて大技を仕掛けるよ。
Then move out of the way. I'll prep a big move. Oh,
準備はいいねアリア。術式を複合する。合わせは私がやるから、お前は展開速度を維持してくれればいい。
任せて、私だって鍛えてるんだから。
では始めよう。坂負け愚風の結界よ。
サイクロンブリズ
father-daughter combo held up their ether gears while overlapping it. The rebel emerged on the black swamp with the ash demons, which instantly grew into massive cyclone, pushing up the waves. Whoa.
親子の合体技、すごい。ダストが巻き上げられて。
The air swelled as it stuck the dust, turning into a massive tornado. It shook the forest. The ash demons trapped in the violent winds were unable to resist and were swallowed up by the tornado. The tornado only lasted for a few seconds, but that was enough time to wipe out most of the ash demons.
シン、今のうちに。
Okay, we can get close to the heinous god this way.
残念じゃったのう。
Shiver. An ominous feeling ran throughout the area. A sound unlike any sound, a voice unlike any voice, the unblessed movements of the unborn rung. The heinous god that laid like the dead suddenly began to shudder as it scattered fresh dust. And it slowly turned its obscure-shaped body.
間に合わなかった。
No, wait, even if it awakens, if you do something about the dust.
いや手遅れじゃ。うぬら門前の小僧どもが何をしようと我の偉業を阻むことなさできんわ。飛び立てニニア、うぬが片割れのもとへ。いやははは。
A slit appeared on the shell of the heinous god. Soon after, several wings opened and flapped fiercely. Its heavy body gradually floated. After a few seconds in midair, the heinous god soared above the trees with the destroyer on top.
いまいましい錬金術の開祖。これぞ暴徳の英知ぞ。
破壊者の狙いはニニルです。家臣ミニアにニニルを襲わせるつもりです。
We need to go after them.
でもカイマが。
The heinous god was preparing to fly away. However, ash demons began to gather in that direction.
もうしつこい。さっき蹴散らしたばかりなのに。
You have to get past them either way. We'd better hurry or Nina will also be defeated.
あら、そんなに急いでどこに行くのかしら。
そんな。
To the new intruder, the group shuddered. The owner of the voice was the incarnation of the dust and just as troublesome as the destroyers.
ハイカブリ姫、どうしてここに。
You don't have time to deal with her.
つれないこと言わないで。あなたに会いたくてせっかくここまで来たのだから。
我が弟子はやらせない。
The ground around Cinderella's feet rose like spikes. She flapped her wings to avoid it.
無粋な人がいるわね。あなたも私たちの仰せの邪魔をしたいの？
シン、ここは私に任せなさい。君たちは破壊者を追うのだ。
But master, even for Albertos, dealing with Cinderella alone would be a burden. There were other ash demons aside from her as well.
心配はいらない。私の錬金術はこの程度のカイマに遅れを取ったりはしないとも。それより 破壊者を放っておけば森の全てがオーズに飲まれてしまう。それだけは許すわけにはいかない。
Use your night slots time. Against Cinderella coming after them, Alberto's controlled the atmosphere to set a barrier. Cinderella was blown backward as if she were hit by an invisible wall with a burst of purple lightning.
やってくれるわね。
Master!
おいシン、迷ってる暇ねえぞ。
Albert darted out as Shin hesitated. He sprinted while shooting his gun and got rid of the ash demons in his path.
みんな、彼に続きましょう。
It's Sonia.
アルベルトス様もアルバートさんも視力を尽くしています。ここで足を止めるわけにはいかないんです。
Alright. Alberto's continued to take on Cinderella's attacks. Shin saw him from the corner of his eye but continued to run. He slashed at the ash demon attempting to attack Albert from a blind spot and rushed beside him.
助かったぜ、シン。
Are you okay? You seem to be awfully out of breath.
誰に向かって言ってんだよ。これくらいどうってことねえ。それより急ぐんだろ。
Albert wiped his mouth as he forced a smile.
行くぜシン。破壊者を止められんのは俺たちだけだ。
Yeah. That was when... Huh? Something is... Odd feeling crossed Shin's mind. It felt as if he overlooked something important. But Albert already charged forth and began advancing. He was in no state to confirm what was behind the odd feeling. Shin shook off his hesitation and followed. Uh-oh. To the heat rising, the trees in the forest shimmered. Flames smoldered. The wind roared as the air filled with smoke from the trees knocked over in the same direction. The heinous god was in the center of the crater. The god had something ragged in its jaws. As it swung its head, that object rolled on the ground. After bouncing several times, it stopped. It was the remnants of Kibe. What? Kibe? How the... What? Shin caught the moment of her being tossed. He rushed over but turned away from the devastated state.
ひどい。こんなになるまで。
That was not Kibe's true origin body. The god Kibe should be safe, but... Despite appearing young, Kibe held the powers of the origin of the earth. The horrific power of the destroyers and the Ys gods was able to turn her into a rag was immeasurable.
我がよ、完成の滝、偉大なる羽化は今ぞ。
Destroyer. The destroyer stood at the edge of the crater with his hands raised.
なんじら引き裂かれし半身、報いの蓋がされば我が英知はなんじら器をつなぎ合わせん。
何をしているの？ニニルはどこ？家臣はいるのにニニルが見えないのはどうして？
Henry and Arya's worried voices rang weakly. The nauseating feeling of disgust rose as Shin's heartbeat raced. There, look, it's being grabbed by the heinous god. The male was right under the heinous god Minya, sticking together the overlap like it was mating. Oh.
あれではすぐ酷化されてしまうわ。助けないと。
Wait, Henry, something seems wrong. Eerie cracking sounds echoed from the heinous god. Its entire body then shifted with an immense amount of bloodshed. Bones popped out of its shell as it dug into the god Minya.
何が起こっているの？
I don't know, but it was something so horrific to the point it gave them chills. As the destroyer continued to laugh, the twin god split into a god and heinous god was about to undergo a blasphemous metamorphosis.
目覚めよ、合体狂心にぬるたよ。汝こそ滅びの獅子の運びてめり。
merged apocalyptic god, Ninota. The two intermingled gods, Ninota rose. The parts that were once Nino completely eclipsed and the bizarre silhouette became a fountain scattering dust.
送信と過信を一つにするなんて、これが破壊者の狙いだったんですね。
I heard from my master once, the twin gods Nina and Nina were originally one being. When the apostles gave them the task of guarding the forest, they divided them into two. The forest has 4 seasons, so they were divided their task.
勤勉な子はっぱよ。されど王子に季節はなし。増進どもも分かたれた半身と一つになれたわけじゃ。慈悲深いのこの我は。汁に帰れば皆同じ。そういうことじゃよな。
Destroyer.
けどが。
The apocalyptic god Ninota attempted to crawl out of the crater. While the rage built toward the destroyer, Shin and the others took their battle stance against the apocalyptic god. It's coming.
ミネルタをここから解き放ってはいけません。何としても彼を止めなくては。
Okay, maybe I should not have used my my special skills in that previous battle. I think we're gonna get in another battle here. Uh-oh.
でも勝てるの？こんな強そうな相手に私たちだけで。
You have to do it. Henry.
分かったの。ファウンダーコード、リミテッドロード、C、あなたに力を。
With Henry's voice, the limiter on the Philosopher's Stone was released. The dust he consumed was turned into energy as spells ran through his body that enhanced his physical performance.
うぬらはありじゃよ。真理という像に踏みつぶされるありめらよ。好きなだけ抗うがいい。貴様ら錬金術師の絶望に染まる顔こそ我の優越よ。
Let's go. Toward the apocalyptic god floating in the dark skies, Shin pointed his lengthy blade like a spear. Metallic sounds clash, the sparks fly. That was the signal for the battle against man and the apocalyptic god. Okay. Yep. That was a bad. I thought. Why did I use my special skills in the earlier battle, man? That was a mistake. Oh. Okay. We can do Aegis Flame. Actually, let me check what this guy's weak to. He's weak to fire, wind, and light. Resistant to earth, water, and dark. Okay. Strain gravel. What status do I have on additional earth damage incurred? guess you can go for... Heal. And then... Piercing Wind. Air Thrusts. It's also... No, he's resistant to water, so I can't do Range Shoot here. Dust Breath. Do Aegis Flame, and then heal the party. All of our stuff is on cooldown, so I guess we just heal the party as well. Okay. Let's go for another hard impact. Not enough MP. We have a lot of run raising available, so I should use that in Enri. And then let's do another cross guard. Actually, I guess we don't have to do a shadow step anymore because it's already active technically. So we can go for Lancer Rod. And then Air Hammer. Mana Bullet. Shield Breaker, Electric Wave. We still have our previous effects, I think. Yeah, still have our previous effects, so we can just keep attacking. I might need someone to do like a heal for the entire party though. Her stuff's on cooldown. No. Okay, fine. We'll use Millionaire Shoot here. And then... we can do an Aegis Flame. Yeah, we can do an Aegis Flame. And then... High Heel Stitch. Cross Guard. Air Thrust. And then Mana Bullet.
この勝利がさらなる高みに導いてくれます。
I think the fight would have been like so much faster if I just, if I didn't use my special skills in the previous fight. I didn't expect that we were gonna have like a boss fight. I thought it was gonna be like scripted or something. With their joint attacks, the massive apocalyptic god lost his posture and wobbled. It soon collapsed and slid down the crater it was originally in.
いいわ、この調子で。
We can do it. Shin felt confident and tried to replace the blade to continue his attacks. However,
ダメです。もう再生が始まってます。
what? Nanota hardened its dust that it emitted and began healing the wounds and damages. Wounds and damages, huh? Okay. It's definitely a problem with the translation. The damage Shin and the others struggled to place was recoverable in a single breath.
やっぱりダメなの？私たちだけじゃ。
We must have a way, somehow. Nothing's for the visual novel? Don't be silly. To find a weak spot of the apocalyptic god, Shin carefully observed the massive body that continued to recover. Their joints where Ninil and Ninya connect seemed to be weaker. To merge the twins, the destroyer said it tweaked Teeny's god Ninya. Every character interaction is powered by AI. Ugh. Their skeleton was also modified so the vital organs inside aren't properly protected.
じゃあニニアだった側に攻撃が届けば。
For that, we need to destroy their joints, and before it revives, we can attack directly. With that said, Shin withdrew his blade from his gauntlet and formed another. The purity of the liquid metal is decreasing. He probably can create only one more replacement with sufficient hardness and sharpness. We have no time. We have to finish before it completely regenerates, or else we have no chance to win.
最後の勝機逃すわけにはいかないのね。
Guys, help me out. I'll cut the apocalyptic gods' ducts and braces. Albert, are you ready? Shin turned his gaze toward Albert for confirmation.
もういつでもいいぜ。
Albert? Under his hood, Albert looked awfully pale. He was white as wax and sweating beads. Did you get hurt somewhere?
なんでもねえって。ちょっと正気に当てられただけだ。
Albert is busy smoking? Damn right he was. Like, freaking man, you need to stop smoking, dude. But the bad omen he felt earlier revived. The suspicion in his mind turned clear as he realized Albert was hiding something from him. Oh, they didn't fix the injury he had from the first fight the other night. Bro, are you serious? Like something that mattered to his life.
Shin.
Interrupting Shin's thoughts, Albert turned to him with eyes containing strong will.
後にしろ。今の俺たちにはやらなきゃいけないことがある。
Still,
どの道병心をどうにかしなきゃ全員助からねえだろうが。
got it. But stay put, Albert. We'll take care of the rest.
ばっか、そうはいくか。俺がいなきゃうまくいくもんもいかねえだろうが。
Ready to press F? Man. Dude. Albert.
なーに、あと少しだ。さっさと済ませようぜ。
Albert patted Shin's chest. He smiles despite suffering, and Shin was unable to say anything. He thought for a moment that there was no time to lose. Eventually, he nodded back at Albert. Let's go, everyone. Back me up.
ええ、もう少しなの。
The last battle began. All of them attacked the apocalyptic god crouching. Ninolta amidst revival cannot move, but the tentacles stretching out of its body blocked their way.
させない。エアスラスト。紡ぎ結ぶ。誇張乱舞。マナプリット装填。スプレッドシュート。
Arya, Enri, and Misonia joined together to slash away the tentacles. The front three dashed through the path created by the girls.
いつまでも鬱陶しいハムシが邪魔じゃ邪魔じゃ邪魔邪魔邪魔
Agrippa raises the skull in his hand as miasma spews from its jaws and ash demons spring out from the ground.
破壊者の錬金術。カイマを呼び出すなんて。
We have no time to deal with you.
任せろ。
Without slowing down, Albert dove into the army of ash demons. With the sword and gun in each hand, he defeats the ash demons rapidly.
こしゃくな人間の一体ごとき
He Numerous ash demons gushed out and attacked from all sides. Albert spins his body like a top, but unable to handle them all, several ash demons cling onto him. Blood splattered out from Albert's mouth. From his body, miasma from the dust rose like smoke. Albert, the dust was... Poison from the dust ate away from his body. Protection from the dust-proof cloths and detoxifying medicine was not enough. He suspected that Albert's body was beginning to corrode. Albert's reaction after being touched by the ash demons proved it. I'll save you now. Albert shouts as he brushes away the ash demons on him. Signs of corrosion can be seen from the skin covered with black spots. Oops. Sorry.
間違いない。お前の向かう先はあっちだ。お前が巨神を止めんだろうが。
The moment Shin hesitated, the tentacle from the apocalyptic god attacked him. With the force of a spear, it gouged the ground while scattering dirt and sand. Shin's body was already in the air. Boosting his Philosopher's Stone, he raised his physical abilities to the max and used the wind pressure of the dust to charge toward the mad god. His target was the joints. Shin struck the shell-like organ that connected the twin gods with his blade. It's hard. With a loud metallic sound, his blade was repelled. Breaking in the middle, it left Shin with an empty feeling. The joint pillar was cut but was still intact. Damn it, after Albert gave us the opportunity.
何をしておるのじゃ、ニヌルタ。そんなクズを取りつかせるでない。
An extra concentrated dust gushed out from its opening. Quickly protecting his face, Shin stepped away. Even then, the ash demons surrounding Albert increased in numbers while Celis had her hands occupied dealing with the tentacles.
シン、まだなの？これ以上は。
そんな！しつこいんだよ、てめえら！
Celis, Albert. I have no more spare blades. I can't fail this. Calm down. To cut the joint pillar, I have to... Shin cleared and focused his mind. In the state where a single moment can feel like 100, he thought up a spell. What Shin came up with was an engine edge that had a blade with chains that spun at high speed. Chainsaw? He's gonna... chain blade? He's gonna do a chain blade spell? Chain blade spell, let's go. a form of a match that sacrificed time. Emitting a high-pitched mechanical sound, the last blade growled. Read too much more. Chain blade, vibrate. Dog. As he withdrew his blade, the joint rod was completely sliced. The gap between the two gods opened and the internal organs became visible just like Shin assumed. Shin went around further and rapidly cut the two remaining joint pillars. Now we can aim for its core. If one of the cores can be crushed, the emerged apocalyptic god shouldn't be able to keep the shape and self-destruct, but... is that really okay to do? Conflict arose in Shin's heart. Should they really slay the apocalyptic god? Is there no way to save Ninolta? Even if there is a way, is he trying to get the easy way? That was a moment of question. His hesitation was no less than a second. However... the tentacle appearing from the apocalyptic god pierced through Shin's stomach. Oh no, not again! Not again! That's the second time he's got a hole in his body. If he wasn't strengthened by the Philosopher's Stone, his organs would have burst. He choked on the impact that was like being struck by steel. Shin was raised into the air and was quickly tossed onto the ground. Celis tried to run over, but the apocalyptic god's tentacle struck her down. As she collapsed, further attacks were issued. Celis got up vigorously, but there was no way for her to avoid the tentacles coming from all sides.
まだ終わらない。私がここまで来たのは弱き者の盾となるため。シャイニーヒルトリップモード。
With Celis' cry, a spell circle formed from her hilt-shaped ether gear. Bright light like a rapier appeared at first, but quickly grew thinner and longer like a whip. Celis swung her sword around at lightning speed, and the tentacles surrounding them were all sliced. Even while being doused by ink-like blood, Celis continues to use her sword to defeat the tentacles and ash demons.
私は負けるわけにはいかない。
Celis. While holding his stomach in pain, Shin got up. He couldn't help but be amazed at Celis' remarkable fighting skills. Her calculation speed allowed her to rewrite her Aether Gear's spell between the few seconds of being attacked. There was something possible through the feedback of the Philosopher's Stone. Celis was already good at battling, but this was beyond her skills. It was almost as if Celis had the power of the Philosopher's Stone.
Shin!
While continuing his fierce battle with the Ash Demons, Albert let out a shout.
覚悟を決めろ。そのニヌルタって化け物を葬る覚悟だ。無力化して封印なんて手間を踏むような余力はもう今の俺たちにはねえ。ここで俺たちが負けたら森の全てが大勢に飲まれちまう。だから
Albert coughed up blood. He fired a barrage of bullets to avoid the ash demons rushing toward his weak body, yet he continued to shout.
行けシン！森を救えるのはお前だけだ！
As if he were struck, he leaped forward. Like a meat shield, thick tentacles blocked Shin's path. Though Shin did not slow down. Using his chain blade, he slashed through the tentacles. The additional tentacles that came after were stopped by Celis. The ash demons were handled by Albert.
シン！行って！お願い！これで！
Everyone was letting out the last of their strength. Despite being exhausted, they continued to fight with their will. Apocalyptic God, he got close enough to his target, enough that he can touch it. Only one more tentacle guarding it. If he can get past that, nothing is stopping him from the bare core. With all his might, he reaped the final tentacle. But at the same time, his blade reached its limit, producing numerous shards. The chain blade shattered and crumbled. He had no more spare liquid metal. Blades from both his gauntlets were used, and the most he can form was a tiny blade. But that was enough. Finn placed his hand on the joint of the apocalyptic god's exposed organs, and with all his might he widened the gap. Once it became big enough for him to enter, he jumped in with his arm out.
なんじゃと？狂神の内部に侵入じゃと？なぜじゃ？なぜ人化せぬ？
Shin swam through and dove deeper into the organs that were like ore itself. Bro, he went inside. Wait, it's big enough that he can go inside, bro. What the hell? Beyond there was a contaminated core that was a fountain of dust. Gods, Ninil and Nina protected the forest, distorted against their will and used as tools for oblivion. I will put an end to that. You guys can now rest. I'm sorry. The tip of his gauntlet touched the core. At the moment of impact, a ring of resonance echoed within the body of the apocalyptic god, which is almost like a scream of desperation. The core easily cracked and the dust that gushed out filled Shin's vision in black. After that, Shin's consciousness was lost.
悪かったな、シン。お前には辛い決断をさせた。
Within his dream, Shin heard that voice. A white haze shrouded the area as deadly silence filled the air, but there was a strange sense of peace within the warm mist.
シン、 俺の力が足りないせいで、お前に道を選ばせてやることができなかった。
Albert? Shin spoke to a figure that seemed like Albert beyond the mist. Not your fault. I'm the one who needs to get stronger.
そうだな。お前は強くなるよ。これからもっとな。それを見届けられないのは少しだけ心残りだが。
Is he actually? Oh no. Albert waved beyond the mist. His back gradually became hazy. Wait, Albert, wait! The mist began to disappear. Not only Albert, but even his arm began to blend with the mist and disappear. Albert! His sight was nowhere to be seen. He didn't know whether he was standing or lying.
じゃあな、シン。お前はそのまま進めばいい。
Don't smoke, guys. Yeah, dude, like don't smoke, guys. Bro! No! Albert, no! Lastly, Shin heard those words clearly. While waking up, he felt a glint of light behind his eyelids. Fearfully, he opened his eyes to see what it was. It took him some time to realize that it was the sun. It's been a while since he's seen the sun with his eyes, even within the cloudy sky. Where am I?
シンさん、よかった。気がついたんですね。
Friend? As Shin got up, Friend came by looking relieved. His body ached, but bandages were wrapped around his wounds. Shin gasped as he grabbed hold of Friend. Why are you here? How long was I sleeping? What happened after that?
落ち着いてください。順を追って説明しますから。シンさんが意識を失っていたのは、多分3時間くらいです。
Oh, that's not so bad. If it was like days, that would be insane. 3 hours?
僕たちはあの場に駆けつけて、カイマと戦闘中だったハルモニア派を援護して、気絶していたシンさんを後方へ運んだんです。
私のドールが運んで差し上げたんですから、感謝なさい。私たちの救援が間に合わなければ、ハルモニア派は全滅していたところですわ。
Maltina. After dusting herself off, Maltina removed her hood. Her voluminous hair spread out from the side.
おかえり、姉さん。カイマの相当は終わったんだね。
当然ですわ。私にかかれば、カイマの10体や20体、お茶の子さいさいですの。
Maltina boasted. Shin gradually began to understand what went on after that. So the Marduk College came to help us. Even after the apocalyptic god died, there were many ash demons in the destroyer there.
最初はヨハン教授もカイマの主力を追っていたんです。でも途中で破壊者の目論みに気づいて。
残念ながら、破壊者は取り逃がしてしまいましたわ。ヨハン教授が追ったのですが、途中、あの人型のカイマと合流されて。
Must be Cinderella. Wait, is my master safe? We'll let Shin and the others go ahead. Albertos was taking care of Cinderella. Shin believed that his master wouldn't be defeated easily, but he was still worried.
アルベルトス様でしたら、ご無事でいらっしゃいますわ。森の結界を張り直すとおっしゃって、カイマの相当を我々に託して去っていきましたの。
Okay, that's good.
まあ、さすがは三賢人の一角というところでしょうか。それにあなたも存外おやりになりますわね。あの強大な家臣を討滅してしまうなんて。
Maltina stared at Shin carefully while nodding.
まあ、少しは見直してあげてもよろしくてよ。私のドールには遠く及ばないにしても。
Can you make up your mind? Am I good or am I not good, bro? What do you mean? That aside, where are the others?
そんなことですって？私がせっかく。
エンリやセレスさんたちだったら、あっちで手当てを。シンさん
Shin instinctively got to his feet. Dragging his aching body, he began heading toward the direction friend pointed. Henry, you guys.
シン
Henry and the others sat on tree stumps and the grass as they rested. Noticing him, they greeted Shin with a faint smile on their tired faces.
よかった。思ったより元気そう。今度ばかりは、もうダメかと思ったよ。
でもよかった。あなたが無事で。
お疲れ様でした、シンくん。本当に。
Guys. Looking at each of them made Shin feel relieved. But Shin instantly noticed someone was missing. Where's Albert? Shin instantly raised his name. At that moment, everyone's expressions clouded. That was more enough of an answer for Shin to realize. No, somewhere in his heart, he knew that he was no longer around.
アルバートは、コアを失って崩れる強心の体から、芯を引っ張り出してくれたの。大量のダストを浴びて、ボロボロになりながら。
救援が来た時は、もう手の施しようのない状態でした。人化のせいで、体の末端部分から崩れ始めていて。
シン、これ。
Henry handed something over. It was his box of cigarettes and his leather-covered notebook.
アルバートの遺品。大事に持ち歩いていたものなの。
Shin quietly accepted it before opening the notebook that looked used. That had Albert's diary and thoughts written. He wasn't a very good writer and skipped dates and pages, but it was enough to find out what Albert thought every day. Albert. Many were the records of his battles with ash demons as a guard. On top of battle results, he wrote down the ecology of ash demons, fighting techniques, oblivion, and his resentment of his own powerlessness. Flipping the page, Shin saw how he had corrosion disease. The toxins from the dust slowly ate up the body. Despite preventing with dust-proof cloths and neutralizers, it wasn't perfect. People like Albert who frequently visited contaminated areas had a higher risk. Black spots were signs of his conditions advancing. Albert must have been hiding it all this time. He must have had symptoms too. Why didn't I notice it? There were plenty of signs. Now that he looked back, there were times when Albert would be coughing. He thought that was due to the cigarette. He wasn't used to smoking. But what if he was holding the cigarette when he was about to cough? Dog, that's... What kind of misdirection was that, bro? Are you serious? Even after knowing his own death reaching close, he decided to go help Shin and the others. His cries could not be held back. Droplets fell on his notebook and his vision blurred completely. He hit his COVID? Bro! Why would you do that? No! No, man! Shin fell to his knees as he pounded the ground with his fist many times, to the point his skin scarred and blood seeped out. If only he told me, maybe there was something I could have done. I thought of him as a big brother. I relied on him. He gave me courage. But my soft side was what Albert...
シンくん。
私たちは最後まで彼に助けられっぱなしで。
Miss Sonia pressed against her eyes. Sala sobbed quietly as Henry and Arya sniffled. I couldn't do anything. Albert! The oblivion in the northern forest has come to an end, with the apocalyptic god defeated and the destroyer leaving. The erosion that was expected to get worse managed to stop at 30%, like the initial prediction. But 30% of a massive forest still covered a large amount of ground. Battle against the ash demons caused great casualties for both the military and the academy. At least there were no deaths among the refugees. Having lost Albert and slaying the apocalyptic god, Shin's heart was heavy and far from feeling victorious. On the way back to the academy, the members of the Harmonia College were filled with sadness and helplessness. Taking a sick leave, he remained in his room. His body felt heavy, but it wasn't like he couldn't move. Seeing how no one is saying anything shows their consideration. For someone like Shin who concentrated on his research and studies in the academy, it felt awfully new to just lay around doing nothing. Rolling on his bed, he gazed up at the ceiling. Corrosion disease and Hughes god purification crossed his mind. Both do not have a concrete solution, but there were methods to slow down the progression of corrosion and to prolong life. Was there something he could have done? That thought keeps coming back. Was he simply fumbling around to avoid admitting he was powerless? In the end, he let Albert die. Even if the corrosion was progressing before he met Shin, he was definitely responsible for hastening his death. Tired of thinking in circles, Shin rolled over in his bed.
シン生きてる入っていい
Really gonna ask, are you alive? Past noon, Arya opened his door and poked her head in. Came in before I even answered.
いやー、どうしてるかなって思って。
You know, you have a tendency of fooling around when things are serious, don't you?
そうかな、そうかも。ああ、これ、一応お見舞いの品。虫くん用のフルーツだけど。
Leave it in there. Making sure the quality of the feed was safe, Shin pointed toward the breeding case. Arya peeked in and placed the slices of fruit she brought inside. Shin just stared at her blankly.
あのね、父さんから連絡があったの。伝書バトの書簡で、父さんらしい簡単な近況報告だったけど。
What did Master say?
オリジン本体のキュベとは連絡が取れたみたい。これから森の送信とつなぎを取って、ダストの拡大を抑えるって。
I see. Shin released a sigh of relief. When Kiba's humanoid body was destroyed, he was horrified. Now, without the twin gods Nino and Ninya, the powers of the Origin are necessary to protect the forest.
父さんはこれから森の安定に専念するみたい。また破壊者が悪巧みするようなら、それを阻止しなくちゃいけないしね。
Destroyers. I wonder why are they trying to spread ore? Nothing can possibly live within the dust. Oblivion means the destruction of Socie. Aside from the Ash Demon Cinderella, that monstrosity by the name of Agrippa is nothing but acting suicidal.
狂人の思考なんて、私には理解できないけど、でも、あの破壊者は、根深い憎しみに突き動かされているように見えたな。
Hatred so strong he wants to destroy the world with him.
私の印象に過ぎないけどね。こんなこと考えても仕方ないし。
Arya's expression eased as she pats Shin's shoulder.
ねえ、どうせ部屋の中でじっとしてるなら、オートまで買い出しに出かけない？
Didn't I say I wasn't feeling well?
でも本当はそうでもないんでしょ？だったらいいじゃない。付き合ってくれても。ああ、それとも、汚れが溜まってるんだったら。
Oh! Hold up a bit. Let me get ready. As Arya began to fidget, Shin quickly got to his feet.
もう少しドキドキしてくれてもいいのにな。
An hour later, outside the academy, the two were in the center of the royal capital of Larsa. Shin accompanied Arya, who was shopping for spices while he searched for some formulating ingredients as well. So at this point, there was only one actual choice. Was it possible to skip some scenes? We haven't actually gotten like another choice since... We've only gotten that one choice, right? It's like so far. It was like what, 2 sessions ago? We haven't gotten any other choices yet. Again. And as far as I know, like the only scenes that were actually skipped are basically all the R18 scenes, right? Like anything that's like story relevant that isn't R18 shouldn't have been skipped. Shin accompanied Arya, who was shopping for spices while he searched for some formulating ingredients as well. He may be self-serving, but felt a little better finding rare ingredients.
帰ったら早速調合してみる？
Yeah, I can't just lay around doing nothing.
だったら道すがらレシピについて話そう。
Arya happily smiled, knowing she was trying to encourage him. It made him feel a little fuzzy. Fate of the world relies on you drinking tea. Right when they returned to the main street.
なんだか騒がしいね。人がいっぱい集まってるし、何かあったのかな？
Yeah, it seems like a festival. The wide street where horse-drawn carriages can pass is crowded with many people. Not in the mood to deal with the commotion, Shin tried to turn away. But that was when a piece of paper fell by his foot. A newspaper. Shin casually picked it up. There's an article about the Oblivion appearing in the northern forest a few days ago. A joint operation between the military and the academy managed to prevent the crisis of Oblivion and protect the people's lives. The series of events was described as a victory. It's not wrong, but as someone who took part in that battle, he couldn't help but feel uncomfortable about the tone of the article. Oh, there it is. That's a doll. There are warriors of Vote that protect mankind from Or. Ah. That's... Cheers were heard as a group marched down the street. It's like a military parade. It was a triumphant parade with the military and dolls. The dolls were decorated and appeared heroic. Professor Johan rode the carriage, surrounded and protected by the dolls and soldiers as he waved to the people. Let us get the wrong version. How is it done? Not the damn patch. I have the patch in my folder. I just didn't install it because, you know, I don't want to get banned. People cheered on the procession heading toward the royal capital. Jin and Arya stared blankly at the parade passing by them. I see, the military came back today.
まるで英雄の凱旋だね。暗いムードになるより、こっちの方がいいっていうのはわかるけど。
I just need you to trick you to run the installer. But that battle was not just about the dolls, it took the lives of so many, even Albert. Frustration built as Shin clenched his fist. Arya gently placed her hand on his back.
行こうか。
Yeah. The two quietly left the area. Next day, Shin finally showed up at the workshop. Including Miss Sonia, Celis and Henry smiled at Shin.
おはようございます、シンくん。体調はどうですか？
昨日アリアと街まで行ったのでしょ？私も誘ってくれたらよかったのに。
Sorry, I'll let you know next time. After a casual conversation, he took a seat. That was like the usual workshop.
ちょうどよかった。今、エンリちゃんと話をしていて、シンにも聞いてほしいことがあったの。過信浄化について、私たちなりに考えてみたんだけど。
Anya's god purification. Shin felt his expression stiffening. The feeling of destroying the core of apocalyptic god Minolta revives.
シン、大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm fine. Care to clue me in? As Shin showed a smile, Henry hesitated for a moment before she continued speaking.
アリアと話したのは、瓶詰めの心臓が過信浄化に応用できるかもしれないということなの。
Where's the info about that girl with now only one hand? Alright, right. I guess we haven't like gone back to see whatever happened to her, huh? She'll probably show up later. Maybe. Possibly.
シン、これを見て。
Arya pulled out a portable blackboard. There was a diagram showing the connection between the god and the heart in a bottle.
この図のように、体の外に心臓の役割をしてくれる 代替装置を用意するというのが瓶詰めの考え方よ。これにろ過装置を媒介すれば、汚染された血液をきれいにすることができるわ。
改めて見ても素晴らしい発明ですね。
でもこれだけじゃ浄化には至りません。一時的にダストを取り除いても、過信は自らダストを生み出してしまうから。
そこでなの。
Henry picked up a piece of chalk and wrote something in the diagram.
体内の血をろ過した状態でダストを生み出す酵や器官を汚染されていないものに交換できたら、過信も浄化できると思うの。
That single-handedly? I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know if she also died or she just lost the hand and that's it. That is a crazy joke though. We can do something like that?
死んだって肺機能の一部は賢者の石が肩代わりしているはずだわ。
Wait, is the Philosopher's Stone actually substituting one of his lungs? Is it actually on his lung? That may be true, but this and that are... It was an interesting idea, but Henry's theory seemed too hard to accomplish. Obviously, if the core is removed, the god will die. Even if the heart in a bottle replaces its function, it may not be enough for long-term treatment. Either way, how would they prepare organs to replace? Creating a part of a god must be extremely difficult. Also, to find a place to hold such a grand treatment was unthinkable. Henry, do you think this is actually possible?
すぐには難しいかもしれないわ。でも可能性はゼロじゃないと思うの。それで真の意見を聞きたいって。
Inspecting Shin's expression, Henry's voice gradually grew weaker. Shin sighed. It was something our master or the three sages couldn't do. It's not something we can do immediately. Even if we spend years, I'm not sure if we can accomplish it. Right now, the world may not have the time to do that.
それは。では真は過信浄化を諦めると？
No, that's not what I mean, but... He thought of the supportive cheers from the people yesterday. People had high expectations for the dolls. Even if they knew the dolls are powered by the heinous gods, they probably wouldn't care. If anything, the Harmonia College that judges the Martyr College would be considered a heretic. Anyway, I'll look into some stuff too.
わかったわ。待ってるの。
Oops. Henry had an awkward smile as she nodded. She then begins to quickly put away the documents.
私もまだ調べたいことあるし、図書館に行ってくるわ。エリちゃん。
Taking the papers, Henry leaves the workshop.
シン、あれはないのではなくて。
私も同感です。いつものシンくんなら、エンリさんの案に目を輝かせて、意見の一つや二つは言ったと思いますよ。
That's...
やっぱりまだ本調子ではないみたいですね。
There's nothing wrong.
強がらないで。自分を責めているのでしょ？アルバートやニヌルタのことで。
With their names spelled out, Shin was at a loss for words. Biting his lip, he looked down.
ところでシン、一つ手合わせ願えないかしら。
Huh?
日課の訓練をしたいのだけど、相手がいた方がいいでしょ？
Why all of a sudden? With the unexpected invite, Shin was startled. Meanwhile, Sas had an awfully joyful smile on her face.
それとも、今のふぬけなシンは、私と手合わせするのが怖いかしら？
What? That was an easy provocation. Clearly she was trying to provoke his anger. But...
あなたがそんな低たらくでは、アルバートも浮かばれないわ。
Can't let those words slide. Shin immediately got up.
セーレス。
落ち着いてください。二人が争っても何もなりませんよ。
大丈夫です、ソニア先生。ここは私に任せてください。シンを立ち直らせるには荒領事が必要みたいですから。
If you're saying that much, fine. When are we doing it?
気象台に行きましょう。手合わせをするにはあそこの広場がうってつけよ。
Got it. The fierce expression Shin nodded. They quickly changed locations. Arya and Miss Sonia joined as witnesses. Shin and Solace made their way to the field near the weather station as they placed their ether gears on.
形成する刃は訓練用のものだけど、気を抜いてたら怪我するのは変わらないわ。ちゃんと集中して戦うのよ。
No need to remind me. You should be careful too. Shin formed the blade from his gauntlet. Honestly, he was more confused than mad, but Sala's spirit beaming forced him into a battle stance.
セレスって結構スパルタなところあるのね。
自分にも他人にも厳しい性格なのでしょう。あえて追い込むことで、シンくんの心の殻を破ろうとしているのではないでしょうか。
Arya and Miss Sonia were watching from a distance. As he focused more, the people and things aside from Salas became distant.
行くわよ。
Anytime.
いざ。
Salas ducked down and started to race. Running in a circle, Shin kept his distance while keeping an eye on her. Salas immediately sent a needle from her rapier flying towards him.
ピアッシングアロー。
Now, Shin crossed his blade to defend himself from her blade cutting the winds. At that moment, Salas closed in and unleashed a sharp thrust. Her blade movements are fast.
実戦ではスイッチの速度が選手を分ける。シンも学んだはずでしょ。
Then, instead of just defending, Shin flexed his knees. He tries to make Salas lose her stance with a leg sweep.
甘い。
Sala's limb was above Shin's head in an instant. Her rapier was extended to its limit and was turned into a staff. Using that to balance, she swings her body into the air. Like a circus act, Salas attacks Shin from above. Quickly, he protected his head with his hand armor, but the power of her kick was too strong and made his leg stumble. As Salas landed, she forms a finishing blade on her dominant arm.
8の人差し、覚悟。
カウンター、シンくんも。
He purposely drew her close and deflected the rapier with his left gauntlet. The blade was missing from the firing muzzle. When he saw he couldn't dodge it, he tossed his blade away and chose to fight back with only his gauntlet. Salas grew weak as his right gauntlet pointed to her stomach.
負けました。
Shin felt relieved at Salas' words. He let out a deep sigh.
悔しい。今日はいけると思ったのに。
That was close. If you formed your rapier a second earlier, I would have lost.
その一瞬だけ精進が足りなかったということね。一瞬だけど埋めるには長いさ。
Salas seemed frustrated but had a refreshing look on her face.
でもシン、自分で気づいている？
Huh?
今のカウンター、模擬演習の時アルバート相手に使ったのと同じでしょ？
Oh. Memories replayed in his mind. He unconsciously looked down at his hands.
あの時私たちはかなり劣勢だった。アルバートの持つバッジさえ取れれば勝ちという状況で、なかなか勝機をつかめずにいたわ。
After that, I tried to catch Albert off guard. I thought that if my blade disappeared during a fierce battle, it would startle Albert. It was a gamble, of course.
でもシンは一瞬のチャンスをものにした。私たちが勝てたのはシンの起点があったからよ。
Celis got up close to him and placed her hand on top of his.
アルバートとの出会いは心を強くした。あなたの中には形を変えて彼が住んでいる。私も同じ。シンやアルバートやソニア先生、アリア、エンディ、他にも多くの人との出会いと経験がこの血肉になっている。だから私は立ち止まらない。彼らと自分自身を裏切らないためにも力の限り進んでいく。そう思っているの。
Celis. Turning to her, Celis had a bashful smile. You're so strong, far more than I imagined you to be.
そう思ってくれるなら、その力の中にあなたも息づいていることを忘れないで。私が錬金術師になろうって思ったのは、あなたと出会ったからなのだから。
Yeah, that's right. Shin unconsciously closes his eyes. His first feelings becoming an alchemist, he wanted to save someone from the tragedy of ore. Coming to the academy, his abilities overlapped with the Harmonia College. Meeting the origins and plotting how to purify heinous gods, he didn't care whether others claimed it would be impossible or hard.
じゃあな、シン。お前はそのまま進めばいい。
Start smoking to commemorate him. No! No, man! Albert's last words rung inside him. Something large tingled in his heart and eventually swelled into an impulse. Thanks, Celis. I was able to face myself.
少しは気合が入ったかしら。
Yep, for sure. Speaking of which, I thought of something urgent.
急用？
Henry said she was going to the library, right? I thought of something after that conversation. Shin said that, Celis blinked in awe before laughing weakly.
いいわ。いってらっしゃい。
さっきのこと、ちゃんと謝らなくちゃダメだよ。
I know. See ya. As if he couldn't hold back his urge, he turned around and quickly dashed off. Henry, thank goodness I found you.
シン？どうしたの？そんなに慌てて。
I thought of helping you research. Upon saying that, he ducked into the bookshelves and pulled out some textbooks. About what you mentioned earlier, I thought about it from a different perspective. It'd be hard for us to create a god's core or replacement organs. But if we use the heinous god's powers, maybe they can cultivate an organ with immunity against the dust. This is just an example, but what if we form a link like a contract with the heinous god, and if we can form a vessel in exchange? Finn slipped the pages in the textbook as he collected his ideas. Henry was left stunned for a moment, but it didn't take much before a smile appeared on her lips.
シン。
Hmm?
頑張ろうね。一緒に。
Yeah, sorry about earlier. I was being pessimistic.
シンが元気になってよかったの。
From there, the two began plotting new ideas for the heinous god purification. The Harmonia College's team was entering a new stage at this very moment. Meanwhile, Celis and the others who were left behind.
やれやれ。立ち直ったらすぐに走り出していっちゃうなんてね。
でも、シンはああでなくては。
シンくんなりに悲しみを飲み込んだのでしょうね。少しほっとしました。
でもセレスにはいいところ持ってかれちゃったな。
そんなことないわ。もう少しで勝てたのに、今になって悔しさがこみ上げてくるもの。
いや、そっちじゃなくて。大概負けず嫌いだよね、セレスも。
あの時の集中力が出せれば、もっと早くレイピアを繰り出せたのに。
Celis didn't seem like she heard Arya's words. She held her shining hilt in her hand as she continued to mutter.
そういえばセレスさん、狂神ミヌルタとの戦いの時、凄まじい速さで術式を構築していましたね。
そうそう、触手に襲われそうになった時、ほんの数秒で新しい刃を形成して。
That time, Celis formed a whip-like blade and managed to get past the crisis. Despite being on the edge, that formation speed was beyond human skills.
実はそれについて 気になることがあるんですが。
何でしょうか？
Sonia glanced at Arya and then approached Celes and whispered something in her ear.
好意って。
Noticing what that meant, Celes' face turned as red as a tomato. Wonder how they have time to look at others' performance during battle? In the heat of battle, they don't miss, man.
ああ、やっぱりそうだったんだ。セレスも。
Oh, okay. So when they do detox for the corruption, the one who receives it also gets a boost in power. Huh. Oh, and then they figured it out. Oh no. So they know that they know it happened. Okay.
私。
Damn, bro. Okay.
責めているわけではありませんよ、セレスさん。
Celes and Arya both flushed, but Miss Sonia continued to speak with a serious look.
汚れは今まで賢者の石という特別な力の代償としてしか考えられていませんでした。ですが、汚れには他に隠れた役割があるのかもしれません。
まさかそれがあの時、セレスの見せた力と関係が？
確証はありませんが。
As Miss Sonia avoided making a definite statement, she also did not deny it.
汚れを通してセレスさんに賢者の石の力が一時的に譲渡されていたとすれば、そうとでも考えなければ、あの時のセレスさんの力には説明がつきません。
あれが賢者の石の力？そう、頭の中がすっとクリアになって、術式が思いのままに組み立てられていくような。確かにあんな感覚は初めてでした。
でも私やエリちゃんの時はそんな変化はなかったけど。
何らかの要因で後天的に体質が変化したのかもしれません。それが単に成長したからなのか、理由があるのかははっきりしませんが。
賢者の石や真の体のこと、ちゃんと調べた方がいいかもしれませんね。
Oh no. Arya, Miss Sonia, and Celes all exchanged glances and nodded. Oh no. Albert has left. Bro, wait, does that mean like... Okay, so there's like no point in Albert's equipment then, unless there's gonna be a point in the game where like Shin can use Albert's equipment. Dog. Yep, he just left. Well, that's a good time to end it, I guess. We're on the dot, ending on the dot here. So, yeah, this is a good point to save, and I'm gonna continue this 3 weeks from now. Yeah, so like I said on Tuesday, I won't be around next week, and the week after I'll be in Japan. So our last stream for the month is gonna be this Saturday, and then after that it's gonna be 2 weeks of me in Japan. So we'll continue Alchemist of Ars Magna on the 7th of May, and I think I have enough time after I get back from Japan to do some farming off stream, so we can like do a few more upgrades to equipment. Yeah, I do have to question why. Man, that would suck then if like if you didn't know that Albert was gonna die and then you farm his equipment. Like, bro, what was the point? How will we remember what happened? So the equipment is just there, just taunting you, like, damn, Albert died, man. Like, or one stream with stories from the trip. Ah. Oh, that's a lot of. Okay. interesting. So we got extra side stories this time around, but yeah, we'll get back to these when I come back in like 3 weeks. So already saved, right? Yeah, I already saved. That's gonna be it for today. Good stopping point for that bombshell of like they immediately know who did it with him because they get a boost. But yeah, we'll continue this 3 weeks from now. Are we gonna get in trouble so you'll have dope stories? No, man. I don't want to be like a nuisance tourist, man. Like, dude, the people who like go to other countries and just be a nuisance just for the heck of it just make no sense to me, man. Like, I'm not about that life, bro. Anyway, our last stream for the month is gonna be on Saturday. We'll be continuing Victoria 3 with the Batua Half campaign. So that's gonna be on the 18th. And then, like I said, I'll be in Japan from next week. So I'll be back in May. I think I can get a stream on May 5? Question mark, possibly. But yeah, that's probably when I'll be back. So thanks to Spar, Steel, and It's Dark Cubed GD1 for dropping by. For everyone else, wherever, whenever you're watching from, whether it's live or the VOD, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch, have a good day, good night, take care, and I'll see you on Saturday for some map painting. Or not map painting, economy.